Okay, so welcome back to Watch the Obsession live stream and chat. Thank you guys so much for being here, everybody. I am so very happy to see you all on this lovely, what is it, Tuesday? Tuesday evening. Yeah, it's kind of a different night for me to do a live stream. So thank you guys for being here. And we are going to be talking this evening about, the tragic case of Madeline Soto. I don't ever want to make it more so about Stefan or Stephan or what. I don't really care how you pronounce his name, to be honest. People are making such a big deal about that. I just call him Dirtball. We always have to, I think, of course, make it more about Maddie because her life was cut so short. It's nothing but an absolute tragedy. The same person literally calls me within the first 30 seconds of every live stream. I don't ever answer the phone when this person calls. It's really weird. And they must be watching the live stream. So we're going to be talking about Stefan Stearns and, let me take the word kind of out of there. The extremely extraordinary deep trouble he is in with the law, facing all of these capital charges for, the abuse charges, and then obviously the capital murder charges. Now, just a few days ago, there was released a jailhouse phone call between himself and his parents, Chris and Deb Stearns, and it is very interesting. It's only 15 minutes long. Perhaps you've heard it, perhaps you haven't. I think that we're going to listen to a lot of it, and I think that we're going to hit on some interesting points that I haven't yet heard discussed, and I really want to see what you think. And then, of course, there was that 501-page document dump or drop. And some of those pages are, investigative product of law enforcement that we have already seen through the already released files. But there are also many pages in there that were previously not included or previously redacted, and they reveal some very interesting information. Now, I personally have a different take on some of the items that people have been talking about over the past 24 hours. And again, I want to see what you guys think about that. So let me just say hello to you guys. Thank you, moderators, for being here. All of you, my gosh, there's so many of you and you're wonderful and great. Look at all those blue wrenches. Thank you guys for everything you do. Oh my God, I got to turn my phone off. It's the same person. They're trying, this is purposeful and mean. Just one second, kids. Turn her off. There we go. So hi, Ashley Victoria. Welcome. How are you doing? Hi, Jen's Gypsy. How's it going? I just love your name. And Utter, so great to see you. The Country Life of Chicken Lady. Chick, thank you for everything you do. And I don't know why you couldn't mod her the other day. I saw your text. I looked into it. And you're all good. So it really is a mystery. Pepper, Liz, how are you guys doing? MK Connecticut, so glad you're here, sweetheart. And let's see. Michelle Cross, great to see you, Michelle. How's it going? I'm just going to go up a little more. I know that Jody is here somewhere, was here. I saw Pizza earlier too. Crime and Crochet, great to see you. How are you doing? Yeah, and then if I missed you, I am so very sorry about that. If you're coming in, please get comfortable. If you're new to the channel, especially, please do say hello, introduce yourself, let us know where you're from. We want to hear your opinion. We always just ask that you are respectful to the victims' family members, and of course, one another. Life is hard, right? We just have to be kind to one another and try to be understanding. Hey, Jay Colorado. Yeah, Jay Colorado, how's it going? Nice to see you. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear that. MK Connecticut. I want to just give it a couple minutes before we start the jailhouse phone call. So just give me one moment here, okay? You know what we're going to listen to? Because I wanted to show you these photos of Maddie anyways, because I think that there's some beautiful photos of Madeline Soto that I put in this one particular video. And this video is accounts from teachers and counselors in Madeline Soto's school, just talking about how she was and their experience while she was in their presence. So I just want to listen to a couple key accounts here, and then we'll get right into that jailhouse phone call And then we will look at the horrifying information in the discovery, or the just in the past 24 hours released discovery, and some of the things that are very controversial today as people are discussing this case. And everybody, please do hit the like and share the link to the stream if you can, so more of our friends get the notification. So this video is a compilation of Madeline Soto's teachers, current teachers, and well, one former teacher, that all of the teachers said was they didn't feel that they really ever had any personal or private or even one-on-one. Share that properly, sorry guys. I just thought that was really sad. I'm thinking, hey, are these just a bunch of, beat educators, or was there something going on with Maddie where she had a difficult time? Let me just go back a little bit because I think this is really important to understand what Maddie's life was like. This poor, sweet, beautiful girl. Interviews that are given. She is my favorite in terms of the connection it seems that she has to Madeline. One thing, sadly, that all of the teachers said was they didn't feel that they really ever had any personal or private or even one-on-one conversations with Madeline, with the exception of her music teacher, who we're going to hear in just a bit here. And I just thought that was really sad. I'm thinking, hey, are these just a bunch of, beat educators, or was there something going on with Maddie where she had a difficult time, really relating to other people or relating to adults? I don't know. Leave a comment and let us know what it is you think as you listen to these interviews.
Hi, Mr. Luca. How you doing? My name's Detective Payne. You can just call me Jeff. You want to have a seat? Sorry for the ominous setup, but this is at least for instance air conditioning at least. So, all right. So, first name is Angela. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, they put us kind of over here in the corner, didn't they? So,
I don't know the portable numbers.
There's a handful of us. That's why we're out here. We're not in the
Oh my goodness.
What's
Hold up just a second.
Cool. How do you?
She's at my first period class, so she's supposed to be my first.
Okay, so sorry about that. That is not supposed to happen anymore. I was telling you guys, my area was eligible for like upgraded real, high speed, high quality internet, which I just upgraded to, so that I was told was not going to happen anymore. But here we go.
What do you teach?
I teach.
Okay. How well do you know?
I thought pretty well. She has been in my class all year round. She's always very sweet, and she struggles a bit. I mean, all my kids are intensive kids, so they're the students who are struggling. She was on my door decorating team.
So I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but she's been in your class since fall.
Since the beginning of the year.
Fall of 23, and then, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She was on my door decorating team. She was actually chosen to be my student of the week from 2 weeks ago for helping us win our door decorating competition with our friends.
Okay.
And she came before school and after school a couple times for that event, which was 1 week.
Okay. So she got student of the week.
Yes.
At the door decorating.
Certificates on my desk to give her.
Okay. Did they win door decorating?
Yeah.
You said that she came early.
Okay, now I just want to make the point here, and this is important to the timeline that we're going to be looking at in a little bit, particularly regarding when Stefan, I don't care how you say his name, Stearns, moved into that upstairs bedroom and then eventually moved out, as it relates to all kinds of accounts of Madeline's disposition, just kind of her, daily demeanor and how she was doing in school. She just won Student of the Week award. That was so very unlike Maddie, according to her mother, her teachers, her counselors, who just really all seemed to kind of overlook this poor, sweet girl for the entire just barely 13 years she was here on this earth. And it was in that time when Stefan Stearns was finally out of her life that, according to her teachers, her counselor, and her mother, things were starting to turn around for her. She even won a Student of the Week award. She was starting to come out of her shell.
Yes, her and her team with a few other students to help with the door decorating the week of Literacy Week, which
Okay.
check if you need exact dates. I think it was January.
Do you have a picture of the door?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you text that to me? And I will text you right now, so you'll have my number.
And our door was all about spreading kindness and love, and they put in a lot of thought and effort into it. With it, so I'll send you the picture
Oh, perfect.
with her in it.
Yes, perfect, perfect. How well do you think you? You said you thought you knew her pretty well. Did you guys have like one-on-ones? Like, how
Not
do you?
really any one-on-ones.
Okay.
Like I didn't even know. Like I didn't.
Okay.
Like I thought I knew her.
Now, those sound drops are her name or any child's name being redacted. That's what that is.
Like I know my other students, but we've never really had a lot of personal talks.
Okay.
Really, her showing up for door decorating was probably the most that I've had like private conversations with her. But it was with her other friends there. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Not the most tech savvy. I've been talking with the other teachers. I know she's very good friends with. Don't know.
Oh.
I'm speaking of. Who
Okay.
She's also good friends with, I believe. Okay. I think that is sending to you now.
It is fascinating, yeah.
The picture right next to her, and they
Yeah.
both won Student of the Week for
Okay.
door decorating.
Okay. Let me see. Make sure I get this. Yep. Okay. So, green sweater is.
Yeah.
Gosh, their reaction is really.
Who are these two kids on the left? Did you ever? You said you never really had like one-on-one conversations with.
For door decorating, we
Okay.
would chat about certain things. I
So
know.
she didn't confide in you or anything.
Okay,
And
so again, here's just one example of her teacher. All of her teachers, except for one, who is her chorus teacher, choir teacher, basically says, "Yeah, I didn't really know her very well. Didn't have a close relationship with her." And gosh, I'm sure these teachers feel horrible now, but just as a whole, shame on that educational institution. Like, they really need to make sure that there is somebody meaningful in every student's life, especially students who have IEPs, who can be identified by certain characteristics as being at risk, or, as we call them, ACEs, adverse child experience survivors. That's what ACEs stands for. Certainly, Maddie was one of those. They really should have had her back. So many people should have had Maddie Soto's back, and nobody did. And guys, that's just it's. I'm sure you feel the same. It's heartbreaking. So I'm going to go forward to a different teacher. I'm trying to get 50 people in here, and then I'll play the the recently released Jailhouse video call that you may or may not have heard. But we have some interesting things to talk about regarding that call. If we don't get there, that's okay. But let's listen to just one or two more. Let's see. So this person with Angela, yeah, she talks for quite a while. Doesn't say too much, other than I don't know her very well. But I I give her credit. I was trying to. I did make her Student of the Week.
24-0113. I have a couple of specific questions that I have to ask you. But can you tell me a little bit about, like, what you know, your relationship with her is, just any information that you could give me on that?
So I met her at the beginning of this school year in an ESE meeting. She was being transferred over from 504, that she was under that in 6th grade with our 6th grade counselor, Miss Merritt.
Okay.
Transferring over at the beginning of this year to the ESE services with.
Okay, so I can tell you what that means since this is my wheelhouse. So she was on a 504 plan, which means that she was not classified as specifically having a learning disability, which is at a level of an IEP. Usually I'm speaking in general terms here, okay? So don't anyone hop on me about this. I'm speaking in general terms, and what I'm saying is how it is. Usually an IEP is a higher level of, a student needing extra supports in school to be able to access a curriculum like a student who did not have a learning disability would be able to, and hopefully have a good experience in school and, get a lot out of their experience at school, even though that they have some things that might be holding them back. A student on a 504 plan is not quite at that level, and usually they are students who are diagnosed with something known as other health impairment, which might be ADHD. It oftentimes will be anxiety disorder or depression or that sort of thing, or sometimes even some kind of a physical limitation. So the fact that she went from a 504 plan to an IEP says to me that somebody along the way determined that she is I don't want to say regressing because that's not necessarily, but it was determined she needed a higher level of special education services for this current school year she was in. Okay. So that says something right there. And we could talk a lot about that, but I'm just going to leave it at that for now. Okay. I just want you guys to know that.
Our ESE staffing specialist, Ms. McGregor. So I was sitting in on that meeting. In that meeting, they approved that switch and she got switched over. I heard a little bit about her background in terms of having ADHD, a lot of problems with focus that affects her schoolwork and grades, and then some mental health concerns in terms of a lot of anxiety and panic attacks. So from there, I have been doing ongoing check-ins with her throughout the school year thus far. I think we've met about, I was looking at it earlier, 6 times.
Okay, since the beginning of the school year?
Correct.
Got it, okay.
When she has come to me, it's often been those feelings of panic. She's come to me like in the middle of class or during lunchtime, just feeling really panicked, kind of heavy breathing, feeling really overwhelmed. And when we've had our conversations about, well, what's going on? What's making you feel this way? I've gotten responses saying, well, it's my anxiety. Sometimes I don't know. I'm just really overstimulated with all the noise in the cafeteria. But I've also gotten responses with, well, things at home with her. And when I pressed about that, it seemed to be things along the lines of, well, she gets upset that I'm forgetful or that I don't clean my room the way she wants me to. And we talked about what that does to affect her. And she says, yelling, that makes me get overstimulated and then I can't respond to her in a way that she wants me to. So we discussed strategies for kind of calming herself down and talking. She's calm about how that makes her feel. And she reported to me that
now they're talking about Maddie Soto interacting with her mother, because the way her mother interacts with her basically makes her paralyzed and scared. So the counselor is talking about ways that she can take charge of the relationship with her mother so it can be more manageable for her and then possibly even for Jen as well. This is just one of the many plethora of examples of how Jen Soto did not parent this beautiful child.
She did have that conversation for our past check-ins since December. So December, January, February, we had a check-in every single month, and each of those check-ins she had said to me, things are better at home and things are a little bit better at school, and I haven't had her come to me in months with any.
Now wait a minute, let's listen to that again. Super important.
Her, and when I pressed about that, it seemed to be things along the lines of, well, she gets upset that I'm forgetful or that I don't clean my room the way she wants me to. And we talked about what that does to affect her, and she says, yelling, that makes me get overstimulated and then I can't respond to her in a way that she wants me to. So we discussed strategies for kind of calming herself down and talk. She's calm about how that makes her feel.
Mm-hmm.
And she reported to me that she did have that conversation for our past check-ins since December. So December, January, February, we had a check-in every single month. And each of those check-ins, she had said to me, things are better at home and things are a little bit better at school. And I haven't had her come to me in months with any.
The past December, January, and February. She said, things are calming down for me. They're much better at home. She's doing better in school. This is a counselor. The counselor has not had her come to her nearly as much in December, January, and February. When did Stefan Stearns officially move out? Dun, dun, dun. Brain surgeons out there, give me the answer. December. There's a direct correlation between his presence in this little girl's life and the deterioration of her mind, body, and soul. And for 8 years, for Jen Soto to not observe the many, many obvious indications that this was happening, I still believe it's criminal.
Sort of panic or anxiety. I did have her mention on occasion her home situation. At that time was when I asked her about that. The only thing she really said was, I don't really like him. He's kind of weird. So I said, okay, well, what does that mean? How is he weird? Why don't you like him? And her responses were nothing of that level of concern. It was always, well, he eats all of our food and he hangs out in the living room and it makes me uncomfortable because I don't really like him. So I don't want him to be there. But nothing ever to the level of concern that we're seeing now. Mm-hmm. And the last thing.
So now this counselor, I certainly believe her. You know, these counselors have an absolute ethical obligation to, to keep conversations private unless they are, obligated by, some compulsory means like law enforcement to disclose details of these private conversations with their students. And when they do, they are going to be reviewing their files. They're going to make sure that everything they're saying is factually accurate. She is reporting that Maddie said straight out, she did not want Stefan being there. And that's the only thing that we have heard from this counselor about what Maddie has said about him. So let there be no ambiguity about that. I hear a lot of people out there talking about, well, and saying, yeah, well, maybe she was confused. And I'm sure she was confused. I'm sure her feelings for everything and everyone is him, her mother were very confusing to her. This poor child had no clear direction or guidance or support or parenting in her life. It's just, I just can't even get over it. I mean, even though I sadly work with a lot of children and teens, like in similar situations, hopefully not any as tragic as this, but anyway, there are no excuses for what was going on in that house on any level. And you might have a different opinion, but this is my opinion and it's a strong one that I have. And I just want to make that clear. No one saw Maddie. No one supported her. Nobody saved her.
I heard about him was he's moving out. I'm happy about that. And that's helping me feel better with home.
When was that conversation that he was moving out?
That was about a couple of months ago. So I would say around December.
Okay. So sometime in December, you guys had a meeting and she said, okay, got it. Did she ever mention anything to you about having depression or like suicidal thoughts or any suicidal attempts or anything like that?
She never mentioned anything along those lines. It was always more so focused on the anxiety and the panic.
Okay.
And a lot of times she wasn't able to verbally articulate what exactly was making that panic arise beyond feeling overstimulated or just not knowing.
Okay. So she never mentioned to you about wanting to hurt herself, wanting to die, wanting to, nothing like that.
She never mentioned wanting to harm herself or wanting to die. She made comments in the interactions where she was feeling panicky, saying things more so like, this hurts and I don't like this or want to deal with this, but it was never anything like I want to hurt myself or end my life or anything along those lines.
Gotcha. Okay. And she didn't disclose that she was taking medication for anything other than just the anxiety or for the ADHD.
No, I think that this is a flaw, in some in schools with counselors, people are so hyper trained to focus on, statements about self-harm or worse, self-worth, and that obviously is so important, but the training is so focused on that almost to the exclusion of picking up the more subtle, yet equally as important, more nuanced indicators that are very clear in many children like Maddie Soto out there who nobody is seeing or connecting with or relating to on her level. Oh my God, I wish she was my student. I mean, I wish somebody gave her everything she deserved. I'm sure you feel the same way, guys.
I didn't talk to her specifically about medication, and I can't recall what was said. It would be in the ESC meeting notes if it was discussed that she was or wasn't on medication.
And she has an IEP, you said, correct? So she switched from the 504 to the IEP.
Yes.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay. Did she mention anything just didn't like him because he ate their food and he was in their living room? Like, did she say anything else to you, disclose anything to you?
She did not. She didn't talk about, asked her about those comments of him being weird and uncomfortable. The only things she gave me were, well, I don't know, he's just a little weird. He eats our food and he's always hanging out in the living room and I don't really want to be around him and nothing. And the way she said it was so like joking in terms of like, I don't know, he's weird type situation, like laughing about it. It never made me feel like there was a safety concern.
Okay, so she didn't disclose anything about him ever touching her inappropriately or them having any sort of a sexual relationship or them having any sort of an inappropriate relationship whatsoever. None of that was ever disclosed or
anything along
brought up to you. Okay. Let me check and see. Like I said, there's some other questions that I have to ask, and I just want to make sure that I touched on them.
I do just want to get through the rest of this counselor statements because I think they're so important to the material we're going to be getting into as well. This all connects, of course. And I want us to see Maddie Soto for who she was. I want us to accept her for who she is and understand what it is she needed, even though we can't give that to her now. But I just feel like she is still owed that, even though she's not here, because she never got it in her precious life. And then we'll go into the jailhouse phone call and then all the rest.
Okay. Did you ever see, I know we talked about like the anxiety and the panic attacks, and you said she never, mentioned anything about being depressed or being suicidal or anything. Did you ever see her exhibit any of those behaviors, like that she is depressed or that did you notice anything about her that was out of the ordinary other than the things we've already talked about?
It seemed more so to be very up and down.
Okay.
Like she would have those heightened moments of the panic and the crying and just kind of, she would go from that to just like shutting down after the panic. And then if you talked her through it a little bit, like there's one specific instance in my statement that she could not say what was making her feel that way. And so I asked her to draw it out and she was able to do that.
Okay.
And then she kind of put on there just like a lot of scribbles, which to her, she said that meant just like the chaos of all the feelings and thoughts that she's having that make her feel overwhelmed. And then words she wrote. So things along the lines of like, why, or crying and things like that. And after that happened, I reached out that she wasn't at school for a couple days. So I was like concerned of, okay, we went from this to now being out. What is happening? I reached out. And at that point, he's been struggling lately, a lot of tears and feelings, but that she was seeing a weekly therapist.
Okay.
So she supposedly had someone that she was seeing weekly about all of this.
Okay.
And also stated at that point she hadn't been at school because she was sick and she was going to take her to the doctor that day. And she mentioned seeing the drawing that from our conversation, and I encouraged her to share that with mom, so she did. And she said that she appreciated that and that helped her in that day, which at the end of that conversation with her, she was able to calm down and feel better. But at that point, that's when it got a little concerning, to the point that I reached out to just to say, hey, what's going on? And found out, okay, she at least has supposedly weekly therapy sessions outside of school.
And most of these things you said that would trigger these panic.
Did we hear anything about weekly therapy sessions outside of school, outside of this counselor saying so? I know that Jen said, okay, Jen did say that in her, the interview, the interview on the couch, which one I'm talking about, that she and Maddie did start to go to therapy together. I do remember her saying that. And she said that Maddie's behavior has turned around. It's improved lately, that after Stefan moved out, they started going to therapy together and their relationship was improving. And those things that Jen was seeing and she was identifying in Maddie as being behavioral issues, not having the great awareness that Honeybun has, and identifying them as being issues, at least in part, in herself as well. Everything was Maddie's fault, right? But she said they were going to therapy together, and things were getting better all around. Just once again, I mean, just so much proof all in the direction of we know that. I mean, we know how toxic Stefan Stearns was for this poor child.
Attacks or these anxiety-inducing issues were because of issues that were going on with them, correct? Like where she would argue with.
Seemed to be a combination of bringing that from home, the arguments and the feeling like she's taking on those feelings at home of, I don't feel safe, in terms of not necessarily physically safe, but emotionally safe, that at me and causing me to feel overstimulated. And then I come to school and it's loud and there's lots of kids and I'm overstimulated again.
But it wasn't.
And nobody is seeing me.
It's usually.
And things she said along the lines of, my room's not clean, or you forget to do this, or you don't do that. So to me, that's like things.
Well, Jesus Christ, Jen, you didn't have a job. Why don't you help her out with these things? Be a parent.
About it was never,
especially at that age, with the teenage age, Okay, so how about her grades or her behavior? Have you noticed any shift in her grades or the behavior that she would normally exhibit?
Grades have seemed stable. We've been working on, in our check-ins, kind of coming up with strategies because of her ADHD and in terms of getting her missing work in to bring up the grades. And she seemed to be making improvements with that since around December, when she started reporting things are better at home at school. Our last check-in was February 6th, I believe. And at that point,
this interview with this counselor is so important and so under-listened to. And the reason, we all know what happened with Stefan Stearns. I mean, there has never been a capital case that's been brought about with, so much evidence. And I'm talking about the CSAM charges, and also probably a capital murder charge as well. We don't know about all of that yet, but I mean, there's no refuting it, right? But what the counselor is saying here again and again and again, and the other teachers reiterating time and time again, that since December, in all of these ways, Maddie was making these positive improvements. That to me is absolute, just one shade under 100% proof positive in a quantitative sense that Jen Soto had all kinds of evidence around her, surrounding her. Like it was like the junk in a hoarder's house was the symptoms that Maddie was displaying in her behavior, that Jen, there's no way she didn't know that something very wrong was going on. And it's almost impossible for me to believe that she didn't know exactly what that wrong thing was. I'm still waiting for those charges. And we're going to talk about that more later in just like 2 more minutes. And we're going to go to the jailhouse call.
I was very happy that day. I called her down just to do our check-in, and she said things are going really well. She feels really happy. Things are better. Things are better at school. And that was wait, Liz.
And that was
December is when Stefan Stearns moved out. And December is when everybody identifies Maddie is all of a sudden starting to blossom.
Because of the strategies that you had kind of given her to help her
Yes,
with-
she had been getting some of that work in. Her teachers are working with her because she has the IEP, and she said that she used the strategies at home to talk about when we're calm, let's talk about what it's like when we're not calm and how that makes us feel.
Gotcha.
She says she was able to successfully do that.
Good. That's excellent. Okay. I know we talked a lot about like, you know,
Yeah. Okay. There's literally 90 seconds more of this.
kind of just briefly mentioned with her. And I know you've only known her for a short period of time, but you haven't noticed a dramatic shift from when you first met her to now that's negative. Like, have you?
Correct. When this first came up, my first thoughts are, oh, things have been better.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I'm like,
So it's surprising to you, it
yes,
sounds like.
How did
we get to this point?
yes.
Okay, so there's nothing that would stand out to you that would make you think that something was on, like that things were declining at home. You actually thought things were actually getting better at home
Right.
based on what she was telling you.
From the information that I had from her,
Okay.
without at that point having spoken to friends or anything I had, to me the perception was things are getting better.
And what was the last date that you met with her?
February 6th.
All right. Well,
And that was the date that she was like, hey, things are getting better. We're using these strategies at home and all of that. Got it.
We
Okay.
were supposed to have our next session to follow up this week, and obviously I haven't been able to do that.
Okay. Is there anything else you can think of that I have not asked you that you want to relate to me while I have you in here?
To me, the only things that are sticking are the comments of he is weird and I don't like him. And
Okay.
I wish I had more information to say where that came from, but when I asked that, all I got was he eats our food, he hangs out in the common areas.
Okay. Okay. All right. Do you swear and affirm everything you told me is true to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Today's date is February 29, 2024.
Alrighty.
The time is
So
15:20 hours.
is that. And I just wish someone saw her and listened to her and gave a shit about this beautiful child. Yeah. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna bring in the phone call from May. I want to say 16th, but I'm not sure about that. Sometime in May, I will check that. Between Stefan Stearns and his mother and his father. Listen very, very, very carefully. Focus on the words being said. There are some really important things that are discussed here that may be disguised as things that are a little more mundane in meaning than they truly are. All right. Welcome to those of you coming in. I'm so glad you guys are here. Please feel free to be part of chat. We want to hear from you. Please just be respectful to certainly Maddie. Family members is hard in this case because Jen Soto, but be respectful to one another. All right. Is this sponsor and shelf? Okay. Yeah. All right. Here we go. How many of you have heard this? Put a 1 in chat, please, if you have already heard this. I'm just curious. If you want to, if you have not, put a 2. So put a 1 in chat, please, if you have heard it. Put a 2 if you have not.
Press 1 for English. Oprima el 2. The time is 2:01 p.m. If you believe that you are the victim of sexual or physical abuse, press *9 0
Jeez.
2 1 after this message.
Ironic.
Press 1 to place a call. Press 2 to enroll. Press 4 for the message system.
Wait, I just want to read this comment. Rosie says, I wish that one or any of the teachers had seen the drawing in her math work notebook. Right, Rosie, it was her math work notebook. It is so freaking hard to believe that no adult, no mandated reporter saw that very graphic picture that was so, I mean, she, not inappropriate of her to do, but the content was so inappropriate for her age because of what she's experienced because of this monster, right? I know it's really hard for me to believe that no mandated reporter saw that. I don't think I believe that's the case. And that's a problem. Did you know that there is somebody else who works at Madeline Soto's middle school that just got arrested on CSAM charges, who is a mandated reporter? He also teaches music lessons, and Maddie's like one passion was singing, right? In the boys and girls club in the area too. We can talk about that later, but damn. And you've got to wonder, is that at all related to kind of the big bust that perhaps was, initiated and trickled down due to Stefan Stern's like mega epic cache of horrific, all that he had. That's just, okay. Oh, makes me so mad.
Please
I'm
enter
sure that's you
PIN
too.
number followed by the pound sign. After the tone, please say United States of America.
Yeah, I hope he runs into a lot of bubbas.
States of America.
Okay, so
You
let you have
have
heard
one
this.
old message. To listen to your messages, please return to the main menu. Press 0 to make a prepaid collect call or speed dial call. Press 1 to make a debit call. Press 8 for calls within the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean. Please enter the area code, prefix, and number. To make an international call, please enter 011, the country code. Your account balance is $40.13. The cost of this call will be 21 cents for the first minute and 21 cents for each additional minute, excluding taxes and other applicable fees. The time limit is 15 minutes.
Dr. Vanna, we're going to be talking about the new parent coins. Is that what you're talking about? We're getting to that. Is that what you're referring to, sweetie?
Press 0 to continue or
I have a different take on them though, but we're going to talk about it.
hello, you have a call at no expense to you from
Stephan Stearns.
an inmate at
Osceola County Corrections Department.
To accept this call, press or say 5. To refuse this call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. Thank you for using IC Solutions. You may begin speaking now.
Stephan. Hey. Where the hell you been? I've been trying to call. They've had us on lockdown so often. Every time I've asked them, we've been on a Code 5 lockdown. Okay. Which means I've been unable to call. I've been trying to call all weekend, too. So you've been on lockdown all this time? Off and on, yes. On the days that I've asked, we've happened to be on lockdown, which means either an incident has happened or they're just so understaffed that they have to lock everyone down. It's probably more to do with the staffing. Okay. How you been? Well, had the world's shittiest birthday present, so.
Okay, let's start right here. Okay. Dad says, how have you been? Well, I had the world's shittiest birthday present. Yeah, being charged with capital murder, that is a pretty shitty birthday present. But honey, Maddie had an even shittier 13th birthday present, courtesy of you. And I also find it ironic that the one time when freaking Jen Soto really broke down and was crying, sobbing for realza, not crocodile tears, was like sobbing from the depths of her soul, was when one of the investigators in the couch interview said, today's March 1st, and he said something like, oh, did you realize tomorrow's your birthday? And she's like, oh my God, this March 1st, it's going to be the worst birthday you're so freaking concerned about their birthdays when this is going on, when Maddie is dead, when your daughter is dead, when the child you killed is dead, and you're talking about your own birthdays when she was murdered basically on her 13th birthday. That makes me insane in the first minute of this interview, and I haven't heard anyone be inflamed about that yet. And I just want to say, everybody be really fucking pissed off about that. That's insane. These people are worthless.
Yeah. And then you didn't call, so I'm assuming because of changes that they prevented you from calling? No, they were actually moving me around a lot, shuffling back and forth, so I was having to get my phone privileges jockeyed back and forth, which takes a little while. And then, like I said, the days that I was asking, we happened to be on lockdown on this.
That's such a canned Stefan, Stefan, who the fuck cares how you say his name? As I said before, canned phrases say, oh, I've been moved. So my phone privileges have been jockeyed around. He has all these little funky Stefan Sternisms that he just throws in there when he's just, lying away life, and he makes my soul crawl with, I don't know, insects.
So it's just been inconvenient. Okay. Very inconvenient timing, and then we were on lockdown all weekend. I wanted to call my mom's birthday. I tried to call yesterday. I tried to call Saturday.
Yeah.
There's no go anytime.
Yeah.
So, but I've been wanting to call. How have you been? I'm trying to put this on speaker. Yeah. I'm trying to put this on speaker. Okay. How have you been? Can you hear me? Good. Can you hear us? Yes. Is Mom there with you? Yeah. Can you hear me? What's up? Stephan, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. Is Mom with you? Hang on a second. Okay. All right, can you hear me? Yes. Stephan, can you hear me? Yes, can you hear me? Yes, okay, that's on speaker. Okay. Is Mom there? Yes, Mom's with me now. Okay. Happy birthday, belated birthday, Mom, and happy belated Mother's Day.
Hi, sweetheart. I was so hoping to hear from you. I'm so glad I'm hearing from you now.
Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't able to call you all weekend. They had us on lockdown, so no one was able to do anything. Were you expecting these charges? No.
Okay, listen to this. And MK Connecticut, I'm so very sorry to hear that, sweetheart. I'm really so sorry. I know that you're not looking for that. You said I only want to say this once, but I'm really sorry that you had to experience that. So here Chris Stern says, were you expecting those charges? Talking about the capital murder charges. All right. Here's another thing that Stefan Stern says that I cannot believe people's heads aren't exploding about, because when I heard him say that, I literally I was sitting on the couch, watching, listening. I literally got up and started kicking things. I was so irate. Anyway.
Murder charge.
Oh, well, we know you're not.
Okay, so you got blindsided by that. Yeah. Obviously, it's not true.
Wait a minute. Let me just go back just a few seconds so you can just hear this whole little 20 seconds of the conversation. Unbelievable.
Expecting these charges? No.
Were you expecting these charges?
Murder charge.
Oh, well, we know you're not.
Okay, so you got blindsided by that. Yeah. Obviously, it's not true. I never would have wanted her gone for any reason, so, premeditated first degree is kind of a dick punch.
Okay. Oh my God, so many things. Woo! First of all, did you just hear he said that the charges that are brought against him, because they're meditated first degree, are kind of a dick punch? They're kind of a dick punch, he says. Are you kidding me? I've processed this fully. I don't even know if I have anything left in me to say about this. Well, what he says before that about the the nature of the charges, just listen to this again, because this is very, 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 very telling.
Okay, so you got blindsided by that.
He got blindsided by the first degree, or by the capital murder charges.
Were you expecting these charges? No. The murder charge.
Oh, well, we know you're not.
Okay, so you got blindsided by that. Yeah. Obviously, you know, it's not true. You know, I never would have wanted her gone for any reason. So, you know, premeditated first degree is kind of a dick punch.
Okay, the dick punch. So I never would have wanted her gone for any reason. So the premeditated is kind of a dick punch. You know, I'd like to do a lot more to your junk than punch it, by the way, Stefan. Like, does anybody have, does anybody have a Brian Koberger style fixed blade knife around? But then he says, you know, I never would have wanted her gone. Okay, so think about the tense there. I never would have back then wanted her gone. I never would have wanted her gone. Implies had she not done bleh, right? Okay, which made it necessary for her to be gone. Okay, and we could go into breaking it down, why that's what that statement means. Maybe I will very specifically send it over to Deception Detective to, you know, make a whole video explaining that, why I'm sure he would think the same thing. So then his complaint is it's the premeditated part of the murder charges that are problematic. You know, like all of the things he's done, all of these horrific capital charges that, you know, carry the penalty of death, which in Florida is a very real possibility. Wade Wilson and others, many others, Florida. His problem is just really with the premeditation part. He's not even contesting this. And well, we'll come back to that. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah. No, I was wondering if you had any updates or anything. Nope, we haven't heard a thing. Just, you know, speculation that she's been
We know.
put in an institution and hiding in an institution.
At her lawyer's request.
Yeah. I mean, are you cooperating with police about her participation in any of this stuff? There's been no opportunity for me to cooperate with anything. As I understand, the police keep saying that I'm uncooperative, but they haven't asked me anything to cooperate with, so.
Because they don't need to, honey, because they got everything they need to take your life should they wish to. And you can't even contest it, you motherfucker, because you did all of those horrible things and you were so cocky and careless and not caring at all about this child whose life you ruined and then took. They don't need to hear another word from you, dude. They've got it on cruise control. That's why. He's just so, I know I'm maybe stating the obvious, but I've got to work through this with you guys. I have a reaction to him like no other, like worse than NK for sure.
Whatever that means. So your attorney isn't approaching them and saying, my client would like to speak with you? No, my attorneys are pretty much saying to keep my mouth shut until the trial starts.
Well, okay.
Okay. I don't know why they were going to wait till the trial, but
yeah, right.
That's their business, not mine. They don't want anything to hurt my chances.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't have any chances, honey.
Okay.
Hey, what was Joey's last name?
Beltry? Yeah, Beltry. Joey Beltry? Beltry?
Beltry.
Beltry or Beltry? Beltry with a V. Like victory.
V.
Yep. Okay. All right. So, yeah, it's basically, well, obviously this confirms that they're artificially inflating everything up as high as they can possibly do it.
Yeah, they are.
I love that. He's like, you know, I just think that they're they're possibly falsely inflating these charges as high as they possibly can do it. Like, there's no way they can charge me with capital premeditated murder with death is a penalty. And his mom just goes, no, they're not. Like, I think his parents knew pretty much from jump. He did it. That's what he did. And like, that's what's up. And again, he is so arrogant and effed up and heartless that he doesn't even contest an ounce of it other than, I wouldn't have wanted her. I would not have wanted her gone for any reason, fill in, had she not done the thing that made it necessity for her to be gone. So what's up with the premeditation, man? Chomp, chomp, choo, choo, casual chew, chomp. Disrespectful, freaking backwards, hat-wearing a-hole.
Yeah. So I don't know what the plan is there. If they're just trying to scare me into pleading down, or I don't know.
No, they're not.
Okay. They're just trying to hurt me as much as possible.
Are you able to share
I agree, Ashley.
the Saturday night before you left for Kissimmee?
Okay, listen to this question. I want to know what you guys think about this. You know what? I'm going to put the link to panel up if anybody wants to come up and, talk about this along with me, because I really do want to know like people's thoughts on this, because there are parts of this crime that I'm still trying to work out in my mind. And I really feel like we need to get this all figured out for Maddie. We do. Somebody owes her something, man. And we've got to take care of that for her, because the people that were in charge of loving her and seeing her and acknowledging her in her life failed miserably. So now we can do it. And that's fine. We will. It's just such a shame she didn't have all of that in life. My God. Link to panel right here if you want to come up. Okay. Oh, yeah. So his dad says, well, let me just go back. Now listen to this exchange here, the question and what's said, okay? And I want to know what you think about this.
Okay. They're just trying to hurt me as much as possible.
Are you able to share the Saturday night before you left for Kissimmee? You were pretty upset about something. Did it have to do anything with Kissimmee and the events that took place the next couple days?
Now remember, his dad told law enforcement that he was so anxious. And in my video, if you haven't seen it, Follow the Money, I talked about Stefan Stern's dependence on prescription medications, which I believe was absolutely extreme. I'm sure of it. I think we talked about this during the last live stream. Is, being a big factor in this whole scenario and how this played out. But it's yet to be seen exactly how that was. His dad told investigators that, he was just a basket case. He was so anxious. And apparently he had run out of his anxiety medication. Now, the anxiety medication he was taking was a benzodiazepine base. It is highly addictive. You do not just stop dependency creating, whatever we want to say. Sorry, YouTube. I mean, it's life, man. Get over it. You don't just stop taking it and be okay with that. I've actually gone through that before. I was prescribed a low dose after I had really bad postpartum depression. It shocked me that happened, but I did, and I had to do something to get through it because I couldn't take care of myself or my sweet little baby. Anyway, I could not just stop taking it. I tried a few times, and I thought I was going to die. It's probably the worst I've ever felt my entire life. So it's not something you just stop taking. And I'm sure he's taking a hell of a lot more of it than the microdose I was taking. Anyway, he asked his dad, do you have any anti-anxiety medication? That's never been asked of him before. He's showing all the symptoms of being super anxious. Those are also symptoms of, your dependency on this medication that you don't have. He was so bold as to ask his dad. So the question to me is, was all of this anxiety that he was expressing was easily observable, and asking the dad even for that medication? And then the mom says in the same interview, Jen's like, oh, don't worry, I've got some of that stuff down here. Was that because he was dependent on that and he was withdrawing, or was he so anxious because he knew something was going on back in Kissimmee. Like, there's the theories about the possibility of Maddie being pregnant or something like that. And that is what was causing his anxiety. His dad is asking him about that now because his dad has caught on to it clearly. And I want to know what you guys think. Is anyone coming up on panel? No. Okay. Link to panel. Should anyone choose to accept the challenge? All right. I'm going to keep playing.
Okay.
No, I was just stressed out about money and job and everything like that.
Some woman got on a YouTube thing and said that you weren't even at the party.
Party?
Yeah, her birthday party.
Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet. I went up there Sunday evening and got there after she was done at her party.
Oh, okay.
And it
Oops.
we were very happy that I was there.
Okay, Mom's like, some girl on YouTube said you didn't even go to the birthday party. He's like, oh yeah, I got that. You know damn well he just freaking lies about everything, because his mom said, that, oh, Maddie, the reason he was there because Maddie invited him to her birthday party. She really wanted him there. Now, is he lying to his parents as some kind of cover up just for what he's doing? Or is he telling these lies about Maddie because he's telling these lies to himself too because he wants to believe that Maddie feels that way about him, although she's truly disgusted by him? These are the questions I have now that I'm trying to work through in my mind, and I need your help. What do you think?
We were very happy that the three of us were together. It was shaping up to be a great week and a great visit. There's no reason for anything to happen that happened.
Is there some explanation of I came up Wednesday morning, met you at the hotel early in the morning, and is there some explanation why you left and went where you went?
I was driving around.
Okay, understood you were driving around, but they know where you were driving around.
Yeah.
And we know.
Okay. I had wanted to grab a few things and get my ducks in a row, kind of prepare myself for whatever was coming, but...
What fucking ducks in a row? You don't have any ducks, dude. You got Tamagotchis and little figures.
Okay.
And then I ended up just kind of driving around aimlessly.
Okay. I mean, you asked me to come up, and we hardly spent 35 minutes the entire time I was there throughout the entire day. And it's like, I wasn't sure why I was there, and then I was caught off guard by what happened later that afternoon, and obviously haven't seen you since.
Yeah, well, I just felt like I needed an ally there.
Well, I wish you had come to me and talked to me about some stuff, and maybe I could have helped you out in some way, giving you some advice. But certainly, under the extenuating circumstances, what was later discovered obviously couldn't help you any further than what had already taken place. So, the most logical thing would be to have, face up to it and have a conversation with the appropriate authorities.
But listen, Chris, listen, Chris Stearns. I got it. We got a little sidebar here, buddy. Come over here. We got to talk. That would require your son to actually behave like a man. And unfortunately, sir, and I don't even know how to feel about this. I'm just saying it's a fact. You did not raise a man, Mr. Chris Stearns. You raised a piece of shit. So there was no way that was actually going to ever happen, although that would be the responsible adult right thing to do. But you didn't raise that kind of a human being, unfortunately. Now, I'm not blaming the parents, and I feel very bad for them too. I have mixed feelings about them. I'm just saying.
Get an attorney or something, but be that as it may.
Yeah.
Well, we got a copy of your birth certificate for Sheila Marino and for your case. We're trying to get hospital records from the TBI, but Sarasota Memorial says you were never a patient there, so that was ridiculous because we know you were.
Yeah. And were you able to find my Social Security card?
Yes,
Good. I presume it was probably in that mouse toy box with everything?
I don't know.
No, it wasn't.
It's in my, it was,
No, I don't recall where it was, but it wasn't. It wasn't there. But
I don't remember if you had confirmed or not. Were you able to find my watch?
No, we weren't. So
Yeah, Amanda, he wasn't invited. I meant to point out, did you hear where he almost said that when he's talking to his mom? He almost said I wasn't invited, but then he switched it up and said something different. I'm wondering if you caught that too.
there was no popcorn box.
So
Little silver mouse
we already
toy.
had your social security card. So why did you think we needed? I already knew your number. I don't. Why did you think we need to find the card?
Just in case I was going to need it in the future.
Okay. Well, we have that.
How long I'm going to be here, or if or when I'll ever be released, or if you guys are going to be around at that point. But birth certificate, social security card might be things I'll need in that case.
Well, the penalty for.
Now listen to this. This is just so sad. And I feel like I can hear as Chris Stearns is saying this, like how it's hitting him in the heart. And of course it would. And then just listen to how this jackass reacts. So listen carefully, especially if you haven't heard this yet, with the conversation that happens right now.
Well, the penalty for the crimes you have been charged with carry a minimum 40-year sentence. So obviously we're going to be gone. Rick will be gone. We'll all be gone. I mean, we're sad about that, obviously, because there won't be anybody here for you when you come out.
Yeah, and I'll be lucky if I have another 40 years left in me either. So,
yeah.
I guess everything sticks.
Dude, like his parents are facing like the real reality of them. And I give him a lot of credit for doing that. He says, and they know damn well that he is fully guilty of everything he is charged with. And the evidence is overwhelming. I mean, even like a Casey Anthony jury is going to be like, whew, this is a cakewalk, guilty. But he says the minimum sentence for the charges you're facing is 40 years. And, by then we're going to be gone. Rick, his stepbrother, his half brother is going to be gone. So, listen, that means there's going to be no one here for you when you get out of prison, assuming he ever does. I mean, he's not. We all know that. But, his dad probably can't conceptualize that yet. Like, wow, that's like a big realization to come through. And Stephan Stearns is like just fucking chomping his gum at it. I just, we expect nothing different. Look at him right now. What else would he do?
I wish there was a way that, you and I can have a conversation, all of us could have a conversation to understand what's taken place, how this came about, how you arrived here, because it would help us better understand the situation, because we're at a loss for understanding how all this came about. I mean, we're just totally baffled.
Well, I didn't start it.
Well, you didn't start it, but you participated in it, which is just as bad as not starting it. But that's for another day. Again, I don't know if
details or anything, but if
we didn't start it. Let's just listen to that again. I mean, again, what do we expect? Nothing different, but it's still some level of shocking because what is wrong with you?
To understand the situation, because we're at a loss for understanding how all this came about. I mean, we're just totally baffled.
Well, I didn't start it.
Hey, Barbie.
Well, you didn't start it, but
I
you
didn't
participated in it, which is just as bad as not starting it. But that's for another day. Again, I don't know if
details or anything, but if you'd like to schedule a visit with me or something, maybe we can find some way to talk.
I don't know. I think we're always going to be recorded, so there won't be an opportunity to do that. Now, we have to make arrangements for you to sign off on a power of attorney so we can do something with this car.
Yeah.
And I would have to bring a document over. They won't even let me see you. I would just hand it to the classification officer. He would bring it in, you sign it, they would notarize it, give it back to me, and I would leave.
Okay. I think I just got the 1 minute warning.
Okay.
So yeah, give them whatever you need, and I'll sign whatever I need to sign. In the meantime, I'll try to call back in the next couple of days and we'll talk some more. If you wouldn't mind putting a little more money in my commissary as well.
All right, I can't do much stuff because we are really, when I say dead ass broke, I mean dead ass broke, but I'll do what I can.
Okay, I appreciate it.
That could change, but right now, for the next 30 days, we are definitely in lockdown.
Yeah, I mean, Stefan, I mean, all of the damage and horror and pain and chaos and heartache and just, all of the most horrific things in the world that you can imagine that you created actually have a real ticket price on them too, you dumbass.
I understand.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
All right. I'll try to get over there within the week to get the POA taken care of.
Okay. There's a 15-minute cooldown before I can call back. I'll see if I can call back again. If not, I'll try to call back in the next couple of days.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Okay. All right. I love you. Bye.
Oh boy. Yikes. Hi Barbie. How you doing, sweetheart? Thanks, sweetie. I appreciate that. Thanks for being a member. Oh, well, you just became a member, didn't you? That's right. Yay. Okay. So no one wants to come up on panel. You guys are chicken. Cluck, 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 cluck. Where's chicken lady? All right. All right, I'm gonna just post again. Okay. Link to panel once again. Okay, so it's active on in his house. People want to hear from you. She was fun to talk to. Yeah, so several of us have taken benzodiazepines, and it sounds like it's a consensus. You don't just get off. You don't just stop taking them. You don't. And I mean, the milligrams you guys were talking about, or someone was talking about, well, damn, I don't think, mine was even like, whoa, way lower than that. And it was, it just doesn't matter. They make the receptors in your brain dependent on them to basically not thrash you from the inside out. Yeah, he's blaming Maddie for what he did. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, I know. I do like that Chris Stearns is finally calling him out there, right? Yeah. Oops. Let's see. I can't think about his parents' bunnies. I cannot. I know they did not fare well with all those poodles. They probably just dropped dead all the time. They're all blaming Maddie. That's right. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. They sure are all blaming Maddie. Let's see. There's one other thing I have to just kind of get ready that I need like 2 minutes for. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. And then we have to talk about the freaking coins and all that craziness. All right, let me just grab that there. Easy intermission time for a minute. For a minute or two. Let's see. Cool. Why is there 2 of these? Okay. Give me a second. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, just 1 minute. Just a minute. Getting to where I gotta go. Okay, there's Tamagotchi. Just getting. You know what? Let me bring this just into the stream as I'm trying to find the spot here. Oh, Honey Bun's coming up. Let's see. I'm bringing you up. Hey, Honey Bun, how are you doing, sweetheart?
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. Your volume or your sound is awesome, actually. What's up?
Oh, that's
Thinking
cool,
about?
but it's on my phone.
Oh, wow. Oh my God, that's really good audio on for a phone. Yeah, great.
Yeah, so I wasn't going to leave you hanging up there. What's
Aw,
up?
I appreciate that. Well, what do you think about all the things we're talking about? I just want some other opinions. What do you think
So,
about okay, go ahead.
no, I just want to start by saying that I'm sorry for anybody that might live in that area, but that's the most backwoods hillbilly area. And I'm from Alabama, so I can say it. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
straight up some of the worst area that anybody could live, because some of those things, they're condoned there.
Yeah.
Like it really is a really backwoods place. It is like wrong turn kind of stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to go ahead and let that one out of the bag in case anybody
No,
was wondering.
yeah, that
I've
area.
got family that's close to there.
That area of Florida, that's right. It's not all like, once you get a little bit away from Disney World, going in the right direction towards like the Gulf side of Florida, it becomes much more like, like rural
Predators.
Alabama. No.
Yeah.
Very,
No, I mean all the things about Alabama, I do have all my teeths, but but yeah, it is it's so backwoods. And I think sometimes when I think about this, I think about Jen and how she probably in her mind, and I know she has a mental something going on, something not quite right in there.
Yeah.
But I think it's common in that area.
Yeah.
To be that way. And I'm just calling it like it is. And
yeah,
if it upset.
and maybe it is. And my other thought is, because I am just like always, when it comes down to it, I guess my own just like, my own personal like sense of justice, very much has to do with, people to the degree they possibly can, taking the utmost responsibility for their own actions and behaviors, particularly where it affects the well-being of others, especially those who are vulnerable, weaker than you, or that you are charged with, keeping alive and well, right? So maybe that is that aspect, but she is from Long Island. And, part of me says, I don't want to blame it on, that backwoods area, because this is about Jen Soto choosing to be Jen Soto. And I know
It is.
She has mental illness, and that is a very real thing. And I'm not discounting that. But, I mean, when you look at what faculties of, in your mind and how it plays out in actions and behaviors in your life, that, like bipolar, since that's what she diagnosis affects, it is not all of the things that she is doing wrong here that betrayed and failed her daughter.
Right. No, I completely agree. It's absolutely, it's heart wrenching. I was sharing in chat earlier, I have a mom that did and said things just like Jen, and men were very much more important to her than I ever was. And the fact of being alone really frightened her. And don't get me wrong, I have a mom like that, but I also love my mom. But I do have I have some knowledge strapped behind me now that allows me to keep my distance and not be hurt from her.
Yeah.
Maddie didn't get even that far enough in life to find that. She never got the chance to learn about that abuse that was going on. Whether Jen wants to think so or not, she abused her.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. That is very true. Yeah. And I mean, I think like I was saying in chat, I think you have absolutely like amazing, insight for what you have gone through. And like, your attitude about it now. So kudos to you. Like, I really admire that. That's an amazing thing.
Well, thank you. It hasn't always been this great. I mean, for one, I went to prison because I had a lack of understanding of the way things needed to be in my life and what I was missing and what I was replacing it with. So I had to learn a lot. But prison was probably one of the best things in the world for me because I learned so much about me. I never got into the crowd of what was going on in prison. I took all the knowledge I could possibly take from there, and it was a good thing for me.
That's
I can't say that for everybody, but it did a complete 180. It put me in another direction in life. So
yeah, well, that's like such an amazing story, because that's what prison should do, is to rehabilitate those who have a life, a meaningful life to rehabilitate. And that's like a really amazing story that's how it happens for you, it sounds.
yeah, it is amazing. What's more amazing is that less than 2% of people actually recover from the things that bind them, sometimes starting at a young age. And that's less than 2%. And I can honestly say I'm part of that.
Yeah, you really overcame all odds. So again, that's not like a, something, that can happen when you go to prison. That's a you thing. That's a you.
Absolutely.
That's all you. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
Amazing. See, you are the anti-Jen Soto. You are the anti-Jen Soto.
Oh, most definitely. And I cannot even, my skin crawls when I think about what possibly she endured, because we don't even know the half of it.
Yeah, that's right. We do not know the half of it. That's completely true. I know. And the more that we learn, the more, just absolutely, oh God, it's really just hard. It's hard. It's just hard to, it's hard to talk about. It's hard to think about. It's hard to accept that this is a part of that this happens. My God.
Yes.
It's just, I don't know. It is.
Yes.
It is hard.
It's heartbreaking, and it makes you wonder what in his right mind. He doesn't have a right mind. Never mind. But Crybaby Stearns acts like, this is just really hurting his life, his lifestyle. And this is just all horrible for him. And he doesn't even think about the fact that it was horrible for her.
Oh no, I absolutely not. And and that, he doesn't, and that thing that just really started to catch me as a trend is that nobody thought about her. Nobody saw her. Nobody heard her. Nobody, it hurts my heart so much to even start talking about it. I feel like I want to cry.
I know we talk a lot about
she was failed in this life. She was just failed.
She was by so many, and so many that never got the chance to really know her when they had her right there at their grasp.
Right. Yeah.
I'm so glad she had her music teacher.
That shrugged their responsibility that they had to her to whatever capacity, consistently, time and time again, across a range of time. And it's just such a damn shame.
My whole family are school teachers, and I used to go to school with them. When I was out of school, I would go to school with them just so that I could connect with other people, not for any real reason except for that I love to help, to do. And I wasn't even a teacher. I was just there just to hang out. It was like close to the end of the school year. And
awesome.
And I connected with them, with all those kids there. And I don't know how these teachers, how they just looked right over her.
No, I don't either. And I mean, that whole school, failed her, as I said, because, in where I work, we have, I have 163 students that I have some charge over, into my capacity at my job. That's a lot of students.
Yes.
Yeah. And I make sure that, I don't say, well, I'm sure obviously everyone's okay, but we meet to make sure that there is no student who does not have that me in their life, who is going to be checking on them every day, caring about them, noticing when things change, finding out what they need, figuring out how to meet their needs, and beyond an IEP and all of that. And, in a way, I do feel that this school did fail her,
Yes. But here's a lesson for everybody from now on. If they've learned from it, then this was not for nothing. But if they can't learn from this and do better, from here on out, then this was all for nothing. She will have gone and nothing good would have come of it. But if we can, I mean, if they can learn something from this, then I'm not saying I'm glad it happened, God no, but at least it wouldn't have been for absolutely nothing.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So I want to play. Okay, before we go into the thing about the new parent coins and all that, I just want to play this portion of this interview. I call it the couch interview, where he really starts to kind of nail her to the wall and, brings up the possibility of the pregnancy. And then we'll parlay into the next topic. And I'd love for you to hang out if you're up for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute myself though, so that my background stuff don't
Your
mess
audio
with
is
me.
great though. And Dr. Vaughn, if you want to come up, I'll be looking for you. And whenever you're ready, that would be great, sweetie. Or anybody else wants to come up, come on up. All right.
Servers and everything else, and we can now piece back her victimization in your house under your care to 2020. I believe you've gone as far back as in when she.
Good point.
So when I asked, they've woken up cuddling. Did you find things suspicious? Did you have an open relationship? Talk to you? Has he made inappropriate statements? It's almost like cheating, right? Like, have you ever been cheated on? Okay. Somebody can only cheat on somebody for so long until they fuck up, or until something comes out, or somebody says something, right? So if we go back to 2020, we're looking at a minimum of 3.5 years. 3.5 years where I'm sure you guys are sexually active. Yes. So for 3.5 years under your care in your house, not only is he being sexually active with you, he had a sexual relationship. And I know it's an emotional thing, and I know it sucks to hear, but where I'm coming from is it seems like something that you can't hide forever. You guys live in a small space, close quarters, you sleep in the same bed, you guys all talk, you guys all share things. You're an observant person for the most part, I assume. Outside of taking medications and going to sleep, it seems very difficult. A lot of grown-ass adults can't hide an affair with somebody who doesn't live with them, let alone somebody who does live with them. So at a certain point, I do believe you became aware of what was going on.
No.
And when I say that, it doesn't mean you're in trouble. It doesn't change.
I know,
but I do believe that a reasonable person, and I consider you a reasonable person, right? Do you think you're a reasonable person?
Yeah.
You're not a reasonable person, honey. I just want to read this comment. Great point. Every time, WV Mountain Mama, can we talk about how this is what brought her to tears? Stern's cheating on her. Every time she shows real emotion, it's completely out of selfish interest, usually in the direction of her being, just all like hung up on, whatever dynamic with Stearns. And not once in this whole almost 3-hour interview, she said, "Oh my God, my baby. I don't know where my baby is. She's missing." Like, it's remarkable. It's truly, it's stunning. It's remarkable. It's almost subhuman.
Would be aware.
This is not, I'm sorry. I know people might have a different opinion than me, but I feel so confident saying this is not what being living with bipolar mental illness does to you. This is not bipolarism. Some struggles in life, if you are bipolar, absolutely, that's gonna, there's things that are gonna be much more challenging for you to do than if you weren't living with that. But all of this is not that. This is a flaw, is a human being stuff. This is Jen Soto choosing to be a flawed human being who is more interested in herself, in her comfort, in her rest, in her, lackadaisical lifestyle than making sure that her daughter's basic needs and, literally life-sustaining needs were met. She failed.
Fair that under her roof, sexual relation. The videos, the text messages, the images, they're all documented forever. This has been an ongoing thing. And at her age, I think she probably thought they were in a relationship. She probably thought they were in love because he her male attention, right? She just started liking boys, right? She just got a crush. Up until then, her crush.
It's the big redacted parks are
At the same time, you guys are sleeping in the same bed together. You guys are all cohabitating. She's not sleeping in her room. But you felt the need to establish a rule that they couldn't sleep in the same room.
Jesus.
But when you establish that rule, for 3 years, she's already been dating him, essentially. Whether that's legal or not.
I had no idea.
So I truthfully believe, and this is my belief, I'm not speaking for other detectives, I'm not speaking for the sheriff's office, the state police department, or any other agency I've said. This is Kevin's belief. I believe that you became aware of your sexual relationship. I think at a certain point throughout this relationship, you became aware of it. And for whatever reason, your reasons are your reasons, whether it was discussed that it would stop, whether it was discussed how it would go, that you feel some sense of guilt. A lot of the news statements you've given kind of, again, my opinion only, I don't speak for anybody else, whether it's in this room or out of this room, bother me. It seems like some of your emotion, up until this room, I think some of the emotion in this room is sincere. I think a lot of it's because I'm being an asshole. I'm telling you things you don't want to hear that shouldn't be said out loud. But when you talk to the news, when you talk to deputies, it feels, based on my experience in this job, that it's not sincere. I feel like some of your sadness is not real sadness. I feel like when you gave the interview with Fox 35, it was not sincere. Looking at that video one time, I don't feel like your cries were sincere.
No.
And I'm not saying that because you're a bad person. I
But
feel
you
like
are.
sometimes people struggle to show real emotion when they're aware of what the truth is. So it has to be fake. This is demise for the past, let's say, 5 years, right? But her going missing, her disappearance, if you have knowledge of how it happened, where it happened, an inclination, that emotion's not going to feel sincere because you're already aware of what happened.
I would.
It's almost becomes a lie at that point.
If I knew anything, I promise you, I would tell you. Like, I am willing to take a lie detector test, whatever the fuck you want, but I don't know anything. He's never mentioned anything. I've never seen any signs. I tried watching her like a hawk. I thought I was doing a good job, but I wasn't. I was oblivious to everything. 4 years.
Minimum. That's just how that far back the cloud goes. And I find it hard to believe for me that you were so worried about how many pills she took at night, but not where she slept or what relationship she was. His interest in her.
I thought we were all safe. I thought because.
Dude, listen, Jen. We thought we were all safe. She can't even make a statement when he's directly talking about the life and death and safety of her child. She can't even make a statement that is focused exclusively on caring about those qualities of her child. I thought we were all safe. Me, Stefan or Stefan, whatever the fuck his name is, and Maddie and me. I thought we were all safe. She can't. Okay, there's just a couple more minutes of this. I'm going to bring Dr. Vaughn up, and then we're going to look at the new stuff.
He hadn't shown me anything so far. Like, everything seems fine. Like, he seems like he treated her like
he treats you. In his mind.
That was a good one.
It's so fucking disgusting.
So
I agree, the narrator.
Is what we found on his phone. Not because somebody came forward and reported that he was abused.
No, I know.
She's not old enough to consent. She's not old enough to have a thought process to even want anything that was happening to her. It's abuse. So he's in jail for that. But something caused what happened. Right? We searched murder because we can call it a murder. She didn't die naturally. She didn't overdose. She didn't have a heart attack. We circled murder on Monday. Something had to cause that. He's been having unrestricted sexual activity for a long time. He's getting what he wants from her, probably from you, and who knows whoever else, right? So it's not like he woke up or went to bed Sunday and he was like, you know what? I'm done with this, but I'm going to kill her. Something happened. People don't just wake up and like, you know what? They leave people, they break up with people, but usually things cause people to snap. Now, what? You know what? And I'm in trouble, or I feel like I'm going to, or him being out. We can go even worse. She's pregnant.
That's what questions last night led me to believe when we started talking about her period.
I was told that her and her friend, and granted, I'm male, never had a period, but that somebody found it weird that they were no longer on the same cycle. Could be different because she's a teenage girl. Could be that she missed her period. Have you ever found a pregnancy test at home that wasn't yours?
I have 2 underneath the bathroom sink, but I haven't seen if they're still there or not.
Okay. But you haven't seen any used ones in the trash?
No.
Their relationship hasn't changed?
No.
Okay. So what do you think happened Sunday? Other than him killing her.
Jesus Christ, no reaction.
What do you think made him snap?
Give me one second, I gotta grab water.
Tell me your theories, because here's the deal. We don't go home until she's found.
No, I know.
So what are your theories?
What I've heard is, what if she upset him and threatened to tell me and say that she was going to tell me, and he needed to shut that down. That's the only thing.
What do you think?
I believe. I don't want to believe he killed her. But from what you guys are telling me, he must have killed her Sunday night and snuck her body out in the morning. That photo you guys showed me of her stuck in the car.
You don't want to believe he killed her.
I want to believe she's still alive and that she got kidnapped, but that doesn't seem like that's the case at all.
Yeah.
I know. My brain just wants to believe something else. I just want to believe she's still alive and she's out there.
Not buying it.
Did he tell you he fucked up?
No. He acted so normal that day. He was like, I'm so impressed. We got out of the house so early. Like she made great time. We had so much time to go to McDonald's, but she didn't want to. His story was so fun. Like,
yeah, we had so much time.
It was so believable.
Okay, wait, hold on. Oh! Go back in my seat.
He's just been lying this whole time. Like, he's.
What about that day in the park? When you offered him a lawyer?
Oh, wait, here.
Did he disclose anything to you there that made you feel like, oh fuck, he needs a lawyer?
No. He kept acting like he didn't know what was happening. And I'm like, don't you see forensics? Don't you see they took your phone? Like, something's happening. Like, I think they're gonna pin this on you. And I'm like, in my head, I'm going, they have the wrong guy. Like, they're just honing in on the last person who saw her.
See, she's not as dumb as she is.
No, you guys do more.
You never said, what did you do?
I've never asked him any of that. I still, even up until when we got here to the police station, I was convinced that he hadn't done anything to her at all.
Because of him or because of not wanting to believe she's deceased?
Because of him. Because I thought he was a good guy.
So up until this morning, you still think that it's not?
No.
We're talking about the other day.
Up until
When we took him.
Yes.
Okay.
I forgot what day of the week that was.
So we're still going through his phone. this drive, like I told you, all the socials.
Okay.
It's going to date back to 2020.
All righty. So,
Based on the
okay, so I'm going to bring Dr. Vanna up, and then we're going to look at the information about the coins and stuff that we've been talking. Oh gosh, there wasn't anything going on so long about it, but thank you guys for being here. This is an important conversation. I'm glad we're having it. I needed to therapy through this with somebody, all of you. All right, so here comes Dr. Vanna. Hey, how are you doing, Dr. Vanna?
Hi, everyone.
Hey, everyone's so excited you're here in Honey Bun. Everyone in chat loves you as well. So thank you guys so much for coming up on panel.
Thank you so much for being supportive, you guys. I know I'm the one that is usually on the outskirts. I know everybody wants to tie Jen to the, I agree. As a mom, I totally get that. But then as a psychologist, I feel like I'm having cognitive dissonance. So if I'm having cognitive dissonance, she probably is too. Do you know what I mean?
See, the way I feel, I just want to say, I don't want to tie her to anything. I am tying her to this. I wanted her to not be,
I know you did. I know
or anything like that. To me, that's what I am seeing here. I'm trying, that's just, anyway. So, but I do very much appreciate and respect your perspective. So how do you think
I totally agree with your perspective as well. I'm talking mostly in just the YouTube community.
Oh yeah. There's definitely.
I just meant overall. I come to the show because you're the most open-minded.
Oh well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just want justice for our girl here.
So I think what's happening in this, what you just showed right there is emotional dissociation. So I think she's dissociating from, she looks very calm to us there, and that calmness can also be mental illness. So while I was waiting to come on here, I went to the United States Department of Health and I printed out statistics. And what I was looking at while I was waiting is that about 20% of the people on this live right now, of the women, have probably been SA'd themselves. Okay. Only about 2% of them have ever told the police. And a small number also told a parent. So I'm just saying that if there's so many people in the world that are suffering from these things, and most of the assaults happen, I thought this was crazy. It was between the ages of 6 and 12, which is literally where Maddie was.
Yeah.
I have always thought that she was starting to age out, if you want my honest opinion, for Stephan Stearns. I know she just started getting her menstrual cycle. And if he's a true pedophile, which I believe he is, then his sexual orientation, if you will, is children. And that's what people have to understand. So my sexual orientation, I'm heterosexual. So
his sexual pathology is children.
Yes. Yeah. But that's what I'm trying to get other people in the chat to know. I know you know all this.
Yeah.
In the chat. I want them to understand. So for him, and I am not giving any excuses or anything. I'm just providing that psychological component that I would in my classes. That's all.
Yeah. No, that's great. No, that's a good explanation. Honey Bunny, you still there?
I'm here. I am.
Oh yeah, Honey Bunny, there you go.
Oh yeah,
I am. I was in the background, just lurking.
Awesome.
Honey Bunny, thank you for sharing everything that you've shared.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I always love to get the chance to speak about some things like that because I'm pretty proud of myself and I want everybody to have a little piece of what I got.
That's right. Good for you.
Yeah. Well, so I'm gonna bring in, so there was, in addition to this, jailhouse phone call, there was that, 501 page document dump, some of which we have already gone over. Some of it, I was actually just before this. Oh, I got something else. I got a little surprise, before this, but I have to verify it first. But when I can in the next couple of days, I will do a live stream and it's going to be, it's going to be I think it's going to be something that we haven't heard yet, but I need to, never mind. I'm not going to say anything more about it, but
I'm looking forward to that.
I start tripping over my words. But so let's bring in, the one page, and it's 486 of this, document, portion of discovery that we're going to be looking at. And I think it connects to everything else we've been talking about. I can't wait to hear you guys think about this. So, okay. Now, I am personally crediting Paula Mooney, the channel Plunder, with finding this. She explained how she came to understand exactly who they were talking about and how this all fit together, and with great certainty knew that it was Madeline's name that is redacted here. And when I actually printed this out, only because Paula explained, you can see the last portion of her name and some of the redactions, and it is definitely Madeline. But so thank you once again, Paula Mooney from Plunder, for all the great work you do. I know that some other people receive this, but I just wanted to say that. So, okay, this is in regards to, well, I'm just going to read it. On December 16th, 2023, okay? Now, this is why I spent so much time in the beginning setting up the timeline for Maddie's behavior and her experience and what other people were observing in her so carefully, because I think here it becomes really super duper important. I'm just going to blow up the document for a minute. Whoop, not me. I just want to blow up. No, I'm not sure. And then I'll bring you guys back so you're visible too, just so people can see this if they would like to, okay? Let's see. So I'll make it real big for you. I always like to read along. I'm just like how my brain is. So it's an investigative narrative. On December 16th, 2023, this is right after the time when Jen Soto is finally like, out. This is how I understand it. Out, Stefan, you're gone. He moves out of their house altogether, back into his parents' house, because God forbid he stands on his own 2 feet. He can't even hike. He needs to cruise on a 1 wheel or whatever. Anyway, at midnight and 47 minutes, so that's 12:47, pretty late in the night for a 12-year-old to be sending a text to her mother's ex-boyfriend, sends a text message to Stefan, who the fuck cares, that contained a photograph of 2 coins. And I'll bring that up too. The coins had the inscription of New Parent Decision Coin and appeared to be from Amazon.com. Madeline sends 2 follow-up texts to Stefan, whatever, stating, "We need this." And also, "Get it for us, please." It goes on to say, a search of Amazon for these coins revealed these coins are for new parents, where one can flip a coin to decide if it's the mother's or father's time to complete a task for a newborn. Due to the fact that this conversation was not near Father's Day or Mother's Day, leads one to believe that Maddie and Stefan had possibly spoke about conceiving a child. Now, I'm going to reserve what I think about this because it's different than what I have heard anyone else say so far. What do you guys think about this? Let me go to Dr. Vanna first. I know you mentioned this a while ago. What do you think about this, Dr. Vanna?
I think that this was didn't her friend say that she was saying that she was late on her menstrual cycle?
Yeah.
I can remember being a teen. If you guys want my honest opinion, I have a feeling that we're going to find out that Maddie was in love with him and thought the same in return, not realizing because she was groomed.
Right.
One of my best friends was groomed from a very young age, and me and my other friend, we tell the story because it's like a telltale. We used to make fun of her because she would literally run home to where we had to meet, where our parents picked us up, and we would be like, look at her run and look at her run. We would joke around. We come to find out later on that for every minute she was not there, she was SA'd that much worse. I'm just trying to use YouTube correct words.
Yeah, thank you.
So I guess my thing is, and her mom had no idea, and it was going on for years, you guys. And the day she told her mom called the police. They up and left. That was it. No looking back. He's in jail today. So she was one of those few that did tell. But I really think that we're going to find out that Maddie was in love with him and saw him more as a boyfriend. And I think that if she did think that she was pregnant, or if she wasn't getting the attachment that she needed with her mom, maybe she thought that by doing it herself, it's almost like, let me show you how you should be a mom type thing. But I think this is a lot of this is subconscious. But I don't think that that means that Jen knew. I think that Jen was very selfish. I think that Jen is mentally ill. I think there's a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that she knew. And I just want to make sure that I am that voice, because there are people in the chat who have been SA'd, and there are people in the chat who I don't know if they're in the chat today, but have been in the chat before, who have had children who have told them that they've been SA'd and they've left type thing, and did the right thing. So I don't want to victim blame, because Jen was probably most likely victimized as well, even by Stefan himself. She was also probably victimized. So I do think that this has something to do with pregnancy, even if it wasn't a definite thing. I also want to know what you think, Kelly, about the 2 pregnancy tests that Jen talks about. She said she didn't have sex with Stefan since December of 2022, and then tells the officer she has 2 pregnancy tests under her sink or whatever. So what are the pregnancy tests there for? That was the only thing that I was like,
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I can only speak from my personal experience. And actually, when this first came about, I was talking to 2 of my girlfriends about this. Like, like I'm thinking she was just like keeping pregnancy tests around like under the sink, like maybe you would like feminine products like tampons or pads or something. And I was like, I personally like have never done that. Like I have used them, yes, only when I knew that I needed to, but I think it's a very weird thing just to keep on hand, particularly since, she has 1 child who is 12, 13, at Maddie's age. Nowhere, anywhere did we hear any discussion of anyone anticipating that Jen and Stefan or Stefan or whatever his name is would have children, or planning on having children, wanted to have children, could actually handle having children, because obviously neither of them knew how to parent or be an adult and a responsible adult. I think it's just very weird that they were just there. What do you think about that, honey, on the pregnancy test, just being there?
So I could go a couple different ways. One of them is I thought possibly that Jen was keeping them there because she may have been aware of what was going on, and just to be able to terminate the pregnancy just like right when it happened or something like that.
I think that has crossed my mind as a possibility. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that. It just seems plausible because they did not, of course, want anyone to know that this was going on. So a pregnancy would have been obvious. There's something going on. So, and maybe Jen didn't know.
Checking her daughter's period.
Yeah. I don't feel like she said a lot of things in the interview to make her sound like she was doing a great job at motherhood, but I don't think that a lot of that was true. I don't think so, because none of us get it that right. None of us are perfect. We don't operate in a perfect world. We're going to make mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes. But Jen was sounding way too perfect of a parent in her interview. And I understand nobody wants to feel like they're doing it wrong, but it's more likely that she was making mistakes rather than being perfect.
So I think being perfect also, though, is like, that's like subjective, right? So
well,
I
true.
think I'm a good parent, but me being a good parent doesn't necessarily make me a good parent to somebody else with different values. So I think what's happening here is that we're seeing Jen says that she suffers from PTSD and bipolar disorder. I think that has a lot to do with it. I think it makes her very selfish. And I think if she knew anything, she knew that she was selfish and that she needed to take care of herself first. She even says that in things here where she says about going to bed. And I couldn't believe, I don't know how she went to bed the night that Maddie went missing. That's
my God.
Me neither.
She's like, I had to take my medicine and go to bed. So I really think that she's so self-centered and so on her own emotional train that she didn't have that attachment to Maddie, which is sad. And I think that Maddie sought that attachment in Stefan because she didn't really have her dad either. So I believe she did have her dad. I don't want to, I take that back if I'm wrong about that. But I don't think that he was in her life as far as she saw him twice a week for dinner and every other weekend type thing.
No.
Right. So
yeah.
And I think that Jen here, I think what's happening is I think she's going through in her brain in that moment where we just watched. I'm still stuck on that. Her in the confession. I think what's happening there is again cognitive dissonance. She's sitting there saying, "No, this is a doting man, a doting like father to her. That's all I ever wanted was to be a good mom and to have a good stepdad for her." And this is the Watts of the Obsession channel, right? So Chris Watts. Look at him. He was a doting husband and this fabulous dad and the best thing that ever happened to Shanann and all this other stuff, right? And then, but we found that there were all these things under the surface.
Yeah, but he wasn't sexually abusing the children for at least
No,
4
but he
years
killed
right
them.
under her nose. He
No, but
did,
he
but that's one event. That's not a pattern of,
No,
I guess I mean
if
more
you
how
notice,
people were
sex
like,
is the
"There's
number
no way."
one
I think I
thing.
meant like how they were like, there's no way he did that. He's such a good dad, or like things like that. Where like, so other people thought Stefan was like such a good role model. Even the one guy that said that his wife dated him and that he felt
No,
good.
no, 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 no. I didn't see. Wait, he said that what he said about that was he found out after he divorced his wife.
Yeah,
that
tell
this
me.
this was his childhood best friend, they were just both like, they like described themselves as like, video game nerds. That he, after he divorced his wife, Stefan was hitting on her. And his attitude was like, well, at least, he's a good guy and my kids would have a good guy in their life. But honest to God, I think he is the only person. Actually, when I was listening to all those friends' interviews and making the Follow the Money video, I put that like a few times in my notes. I feel as though, barring his parents' strange mixed reviews and perception of him, I think he was the only person that had anything even remotely positive to say about Stefan.
There was a girl that dated him too, though. I mean, she wound up saying mean things about him. So I think people eventually found him as weird and stuff. But I think he gave Jen just enough attention that she really thought that he was going to be a companion with her. And I saw somebody asked about the Woody Allen comment. I do think that that's sus. Like the part that I thought was sus was when she says, when the daughter falls in love with when the stepfather. And so I did not like that. So I will give you guys that part. So maybe somewhere in her head, she could have thought, this is what I honestly think. She says her mom, I think this goes back to her relationship with her own mother. I think she's trying to be mother of the year to show her mom how to be a good mom. However, she's going through her own things and therefore isn't giving Maddie what she needs.
She's doing nothing to be mother of the year. I mean,
I know. I'm saying in her head. I'm saying, no, I don't think she's mother of the year. I'm saying to her, she thinks that by taking Maddie to school and picking her up and giving her dinner, that means she's a good mom. Do you know what I mean? So I'm thinking that she thinks she's a good mom. I'm not saying she's a good mom, but I think that all plays a role in this. So I think she just wanted to have companionship and stability, if you will, for Maddie. And I think Stefan, I would love to know what Stefan sounds
I think
like.
she wanted companion and stability for herself. I don't think she wanted.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. For herself, what I meant was for others to be like, look, we have this happy family, but that it was really about her. I think this all comes back to her and her own selfishness.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so the way that I read this, so a lot of people, have said, oh wait, and let me just show you really quickly what these little coins are here. Hold it. Wait. I actually bookmarked them somewhere here. Do you have something to say, Honey Bun, before I go on to this? It's going to take me a sec here.
No, I'm grilled cheesing it right now.
If you hear me chewing, I'm eating popcorn. I'm starving. Sorry, guys. I don't know.
No, that's awesome. I'm glad that you're also eating, because I was like, oh, I'm going to mute my mic for just a second and make a grilled cheese.
I'm just getting too damn hungry. Okay. All right. So this is what these are. Okay. Let me make sure I get the exact one. And then also my personal information is not showing. Well, sometimes they're featured in different ways. Wait, I just want to make sure I have the same one. Oh, wait, here it is. Is it the one with the footprints or let me see. Sure. Just give me 1 second here. Father's Day. Okay. All right. So anyway, let me show you what. Wait. Hold on. Let me show you how many personal information on here. It says my Amazon account. That's all I need, Dave. Okay. He'll always be lingering in my mind like that. All right, so let me swap this out here. And I appreciate you so much, Dr. Ivana. Even if we don't have the same opinion, it's totally okay. And thank you so much for coming up.
Thank you all for letting me provide the other side.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate these.
Okay, so this is what they're saying this is. So it says, fun baby gift, new dad, mom, parent decision coin for dad, mom to be, pregnancy gifts for first time daddy, mommy, baby shower announcement, new parents, gifts for Father's Day. But the one that they showed in the discovery, it also said like also for Halloween and it's going on down here. It says, okay. Funny decision coin, a humorous and practical newborn coin featuring daddy's turn and mommy's turn sides. Ideal for first-time parents make quick decisions about what needs to be done with the baby. It says perfect for a baby shower idea, perfect for Christmas, birthday, gender reveal, family dinner, expecting mom, dad, brother, sister, friend, couple. Let's see. They will be touched. And then it says also suitable for various occasions, including baby showers, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, and Valentine's Day. So it describes it as being like a lot of different things. Now, this is what I think it's all about. I think that this is just my personal opinion. Okay. I was really surprised when I learned that in this narrative, the investigator said, due to the fact that this conversation was not near Father's Day or Mother's Day, leads one to believe that Stefan had possibly spoke about conceiving a child. I don't think that because this conversation, this little text exchange happened not near Father's Day or Mother's Day, I don't think that leads one to believe that there was conversation about conceiving a child. I think that is a huge erroneous, illogical attempt at making a logical connection. What I think this is about is Stefan had just moved out. Jen had kicked him out. They said in one of the interviews, oh God, who was it? I think it was one of the roommates. They said at first, when he first moved out, things were a little rocky, but then they didn't say anything follow up after that. But everyone else describes that then after that, a very, very short period of time, things were less rocky. Jen and Maddie's relationship was better. Maddie's behavior was better. Her stress level was better. The chaos level was much better in the house. But I think that Jen and Maddie both had mixed feelings about Stefan not being there for very different reasons. For Jen, it's because of her, codependent, dysfunctional relationship with him. She's finally making the decision to break the codependency. And that is a huge thing, especially for a human being as incompetent as Jen Soto. And then Maddie has all these mixed, confused emotions because, she was groomed by a predator and abused in this most horrific and consistent way for so many years. She didn't know normal. She didn't know how to feel normal. She didn't know what to feel. She didn't know relationship boundaries. She didn't know if what she was feeling in his absence was good or bad, right? So I think when Jen finally kicked Stefan out, this totally effed him up. He wanted to be there, obviously not because of Jen, but because of Maddie. So to make sure that he still had that grip on them, he felt his grip slipping away for the first time, perhaps, with Jen. So he had to put another hook in Maddie. And that was, maybe talking, this is my perception again, talking to her about her difficult relationship with her mother. Like he says to the investigators and everyone else, I'm that person that she would go to when she'd get into fights with Jen. I'm that person for her. I'm her comfort. I'm her snuggle buddy. I'm her come and put your head in the smelly nook of my arm and sleep with me until I assault you person. I'm all these nice things to disguise that which I'm really doing to her. So I think he was really talking up this is what it's going to be like with me not there. But, we need to make sure that I'm still there to comfort you and to protect you and that you can still come to me when things are hard between you and your mom. So he's, I think, in her mind, still asserting his role that he wants everyone to perceive to cover up what he's really doing is her parent. And he was really driving it home. And he's like, I still want to have a say in your everyday life.
Wasn't she the one though that said that one that asked him for them?
Yes, she did. Yeah, listen. So she's like, yeah. So I know I'm long-winded, but I want people to understand why.
I do. I just wanted to make sure I was following.
She asked him. Yes. And I'll go over that. I'll read that again in a minute. And so he's like, I still want to be able to parent in your life. We all know what happens. Ha ha ha. When your mom makes all of the decisions, you don't get to have snacks and movies and snuggle in the nook of my arm at night. Or like, obviously he didn't say that, but he was saying things that he knew that she liked to kind of pit Jen against her. And I think this was definitely going on during the entire course of their relationship. He was obviously the root of a lot of discord in that relationship, although that's all I'm going to say about that. And so, Maddie is now thinking, yeah, well, here I am with my mom and Stefan is not here. And that's kind of good in a way because, I think he's creepy and he eats all of her food and he makes me feel uncomfortable. But at the same time, she's a child. When it works for me and I can go to him and leverage my relationship to him to get what I want, to get my snacks and to get my movies and to get, whatever it is that I want, I still want to have that. So I still want to have both of these people in my life as my parents, because that is what Stefan Stearns and Jen have presented him to be to Maddie. And I think this is just something that she came across and she was like thinking, oh, haha, this would be something that, she was talking to her counselor, as we heard earlier on this live stream. The counselor was teaching her skills about how to smooth over her relationship with her and Jen because Jen couldn't manage that relationship as a parent. So Maddie essentially had to be the parent. Oh, this would be something like cute and light, that we could all share a laugh about. It even says, like in the description, this can be a funny practical joke that will make everyone bond and laugh or whatever. I think that's all it was. Like, Stefan gets to, decide what I'm doing, today when, I want what I know his ruling is going to be to work in my favor so I can get what I want. Of course, she's going to think that she's a kid. And then, when it doesn't really matter, then it's my mom who can make the decision because we all know how it goes when she makes the decision, like Stefan just told me. Does that make sense to you guys?
So I do have a question, Kelly. So I'm looking it up online as you were talking, and there are many coins that are mom's turn, dad's turn.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of different ones.
Say new parent decision coin.
What's that?
There's a bunch of coins. While you were talking, I looked online, and there's a bunch of coins that you could get that say dad's turn, mom's turn, that don't say new parent decision coin.
Right.
Like if you just look up on Google,
so yes, so then.
Unless, of course, that's something that she came across, like when you're scrolling Facebook and it's an ad.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, exactly. that could very well be the reason why it says new parent, just offering that up a little bit.
However, on Amazon, when you go down a little bit, it shows you 55 other things that are just like it.
Right.
I'm just saying, if she was Googling it or if she saw it on a trend of some sort, I think somebody in the chat would have heard about that trend or just something that, but I feel like they do have these coins, ones that say mom and dad's turn that have no baby feet on them. And they don't say new parent decision making. So I think they're just mom or dad coins. So I guess you could use them with a teenager even type thing. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't she want them?
She's 12.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
But she's 12 years old. You know what I mean? And
True.
I just feel like it's something she just like came across. I don't. That's just my perception of it. Because
no, I'm glad that we're having this back and forth because clearly people in the chat, there's probably people thinking both ways. So I'm just trying to ask questions to both of you, like what you would think.
Yeah.
I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. Like there's other ones that don't have baby feet. I don't know. That's the only thing that got me a little bit like, I don't know about this. What did you think, Honey Bun?
Oh, I was just thinking that maybe like when she was scrolling social media, that maybe she came across those and just clicked it, screenshot it or something of that nature, and didn't even pay attention to the new parent part or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I could go both ways on it. I'm not stuck to one. That's for sure.
I could go both ways on it too, but I don't think it's so clear cut that this means that they were talking about conceiving a child. Like law enforcement came to that conclusion, but maybe they know more. But I can see both ways too.
for all we know, and I'm not going after the victim, but she might have been a manipulative little girl. She might have picked up some things from her mama. You never really know, honestly, what's going on in a situation. Does that mean that she deserved to be gone from this world? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, if you think about it, we'll never ever know all of it.
No, we won't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
But I just wanted to put out that different explanation because I just feel like, you know, after I learned about this, I watched like a few like channels takes on it. Everyone was like, oh, this means they were talking about having a baby. I don't think it necessarily means that at all. I think there's so many different ways you could look at it. And like people are saying, oh, it was for the Tamagotchis. The baby, well, from what I understand, because I looked at that too, the baby stage of the Tamagotchi is basically just to warm your Tamagotchi up, to show you all the features of that particular Tamagotchi. And like in a very short time, it becomes a child and then a teenager and then an adult.
Yeah.
And have fun
it was
with
like an hour in
I played
infancy.
with those when I was growing up.
Yeah. So
And I do
personally don't
believe
think it
that
has to be
Jen
about-
prioritized Stefan over Maddie Clark.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because now Maddie's not here. I think she was even prioritizing him, even as the detective was saying so. Can I say one thing, Kelly? Because I found something too that I wrote. When Clark asked me about the Woody Allen situation, I actually wrote something down so that I wouldn't forget if anybody asked me. So what I wrote was, Jennifer's comment is troubling, but it offers a glimpse into the mental conditioning Stearns likely inflicted upon her. Narcissists often manipulate their victims by planting ideas in their head, subtly or overtly, suggesting things that later become part of the victim's own thought process. Jennifer's remark about the Woody Allen situation could have originated from conversations with Stearns. He might have made offhanded comments that suggested such scenarios, thereby normalizing the idea in her mind. Jennifer's fear then isn't entirely irrational. It's a reflection of Stearns' manipulative influence over her, making her feel both complicit and powerless at the same time.
Okay, that's interesting because that actually relates to something else that I observed. So earlier today when I was watching Plunder's video about all this jazz, you know, here, let me actually, she's okay with like showing a little bit of it. Let me bring it up really quick. You know, she did a video that was talking, that was featuring in part, let me bring it right into the stream here, at least on silent, in part, Stefan Stearns' relationship with this girl named Kendall out in California when they were in high school. And mom describes it as being Stefan Stearns' first love, right? And even in this Plunder video, because she always puts together everything so well. Wait, let me just see if I can pinpoint it here really quick.
Okay.
Let me see.
In his mouth and the way he's so.
After she was,
Let me just try to grab it.
there's been no opportunity for them, and
You texted Stefan to
about.
Okay, here. Okay, here. Let's just talk about Kendall. Then I'm going to make a point that goes back to your point, Dr. Vanna.
how many of those photos I'll put in this video. And Kendall, the love of his life, that was a girl from California. We've heard Stephan Stearns' mom, Deborah, talk about Kendall before.
Tell me about his relationships growing up as far as intimate. Do you guys know anything about those? Did he date much?
I know some. I know.
She would know more than me.
Okay. His first real love was Kendall, and that was in California. And that's
What age was that?
High school.
Yeah.
High school.
Yeah.
early high school, like freshman year.
Okay.
Yeah, 15, 16.
Yeah, and that was we loved Kendall, and Kendall loved him. He loved her. That was the only reason he didn't want to leave California, was because Kendall was going to be there. And
Were they the same age?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, so hold it right there. Kendall loved him. He loved Kendall. Kendall loved her. Mom is like, you know, raving about Kendall. Were they the same age? Yes, says mom. Yes, says dad. Okay. Now hopping right over to. Gosh, I'm good.
How old were they again? Just
Wait.
out of curiosity.
Wait, just 1 second. I'm just gonna play. What's that?
How old were they at that time, him and Kendall?
High school. They're in high
Okay.
school. Okay, now listen to this. Okay, let me go back just like 30 seconds, give it a little context. All right.
do with you to participate in sexual activity with him?
No.
Regardless of you saying no or yes.
No, he's never asked that.
Okay. If we find pictures like that, is that going to surprise you? So if I'm in his Google Drive, if I have a sex crimes detective, a computer person look at his phone, and they tell me, hey, Kevin, I found a picture engaged in sexual activity or borderline sexual activity, is that going to surprise you?
Yes, because that doesn't exist.
Okay. At any time during the course of your relationship, has he expressed that he has ever had sex with a child?
No. Not a child, but when he told me when he was in high school, he graduated high school like later, like older than 18.
Okay.
He dated somebody younger than 18. I think she was 15. But I don't know how old he was, 19, 20. But he was an older kid in high school. He graduated late. But he had a really young girlfriend. Her name was Kendall.
All right. Now,
and-
Jen is describing it as he was 19 or 20, Kendall was 15. That in California and Florida, my friends, is called statutory rape. I don't think that his parents would have been like so easily like, oh yeah, he and Kendall were the same age, or that, I mean, they just like appeared to be the same age to me, or that they would be, you know, people would be saying something about that. It seemed like they were very, very open and very like teenage, you know, infatuation with their relationship, right? So my point here is, because that's another thing I want to point out about Kendall, that Jen Soto said that was because I was like, either the parents are wrong or Jen Soto is wrong here. And I just believe the parents. I felt like they had that story down pat.
Okay, but wait, look at
Let me just finish. Let me just finish.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's going to be like 20 seconds. So my thought was that Stefan Stearns told Jen about Kendall, but then changed some of the details, you know, kind of to take her temperature or to groom her towards normalizing and accepting, you know, statutory rape. That somebody this much older, a guy this much older than this girl, even though it's statutory rape, and it can, depending on the people, certainly be inappropriate. If that's okay, it's a step towards, you know, perhaps his relationship with Maddie is okay, which I think supports what you were saying.
I agree with you 100%. So I should have just shut up and let you finish. However, I will say, did you watch the parents interview in the Dr. John? I forget the name of their show, but in that video where they're interviewing the parents, the mom says at one point, she's talking about her, and I can't remember exactly, but she says something like, "What do you think? We check the IDs at the door?" And I thought that was weird. Like, because he asked that question, like, did you see Stephan bring younger people?
Okay, I gotcha.
And she was like, what do you think? She was like, you know, I didn't check IDs at the door, if that's what you're asking. But like, she said it like flippantly. So I don't know. She probably wants to make it look like, I don't know. I'm curious to see how old him and Kendall were.
I think that's like, maybe that was something, but she's just snarky. She's.
I think they did find an Asian female who came out and said that they found like the girl that one of his friends was saying that he dated, and that they didn't let her go to parties because she was under 18. And she came out and confirmed that that was true, that she was not 18, she was 14. I'm going to have to find you that and send it to you.
Where'd you hear that?
That was on Gray Hughes Investigates.
Okay. Huh. Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. So maybe, you know, he certainly could have been always like, you know, having inappropriate relationships with people who are too young for him. But if Kendall really was his age, and I just tend to believe that was a fact. I was just thinking that along the lines of what you're saying, that Stefan Stearns changed the details of that story to, you know, get Jen accustomed to inappropriate age ranging, male, female, you know, statutory rape and more relationships being okay.
Just making it younger and younger and younger.
Yes, exactly. Sliding the scale. Yep. Exactly.
That is so narcissistic.
It is so narcissistic.
Yeah.
That is such a narcissistic thing to do.
Totally. And I
they
think
often erode their victims.
They
often erode the victim's sense of normalcy. So it makes them tolerate or excuse their disturbing behavior. So they might do something that's nice, and then they're like, nah, like they didn't mean that to be weird. She also gives him a lot of like leverage when she says things like, oh, well, I didn't think he could get back to to the hotel. Like she says, like, I don't think he's a very smart man. Like she wasn't giving him enough credit. So maybe he played on that too, like where he made it seem like he was helpless and maybe like, less than smart. So I don't know, but that would then also go into that same theory, Kelly, that we might have.
Yeah, totally.
I think we're onto something there.
Yeah, I think so. It's interesting. So I was thinking about that a lot today because as I was watching other people react to this stuff, nobody mentioned that, and and I was like, I don't know. I was just thinking a lot differently than like the flow of like the mainstream discussion on this today for some reason.
And also, if he can invade Maddie's privacy, then he can also invade Jen's privacy as well, right? So what people do with you, they'll do to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I also look at it that way too. So again, none of this, you guys, I don't think that Jen is like mom of the year again. And none of this is a reason for Maddie should be here right now on live with us, right? So this is just more of a psychologist explanation of if, and again, I am not diagnosing anybody. So let me just say that. I don't want to get in trouble in any way. But if like his mom says that he's a narcissist, so I'm going off of that. So if what his mom says is real, then this might explain some of his behavior.
Yeah. So like whenever people bring up narcissism with him, the way I think about it is, like narcissism can be a characteristic of a different and sometimes more grandiose and pervasive disorder, so like some kind of a psychopathology. So to me, like when people like call him a narcissist, pointing out narcissistic characteristics, I just see that cluster of characteristics is being one of the criteria of something much more fucked up than narcissism.
So what I think I'm talking about is actually narcissistic personality disorder, which
I got you. I think you're right about that.
But I do think that a lot of people have narcissistic traits and they call people like, I think people are very easy to say like, you're a narcissist or whatever. Not really. But I think people also say things like my anxiety, but they don't really have an anxiety.
No, but I mean, narcissistic personality disorder can be a criteria of like something that's even more pathological than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm just
like antisocial.
Yes, exactly. I'm just kind of explaining it to,
And that would also, if that's the case, that would also fit with how he can invade. Because if you think about it, he doesn't just invade Maddie and Jen's spaces and stuff. Now that I think about it, there's pictures of him taking video of the roommate too. Like, and apparently he did it to one of his old roommate's girlfriends years ago.
And he did it to his friend's mother and almost got shot. Somebody was believing.
Oh, that's right.
So one of his childhood friends, said that one day, and this was the end of their friendship, that the mothers used to be friends. They used to ride horses together, and he sort of by default ended up being friends with Stefan Stearns. But he says, I remember in this interview, he says he was probably like around 18 or something. It was the end of high school. His dad almost shot him because there was somebody who was perving into his mother's window when she was dressing or in the bathroom or something like that. And his dad got out the gun, almost shot him, gave it a second, realized it was Stefan, and then, finally sat him down and said, son, like, let this be your lesson. Like, you have no business doing this. I almost shot you in the head. You can't be doing this. This is not just like, and then obviously they were done with him because he was just perving on this 18-year-old friend's mother or this man's wife. They were like bad news bears later.
I believe he's the friend that talks about the parties where they didn't let the one girl come because she was too young. I believe that's the friend I'm talking about.
Okay, he might. Yeah. Those friends. Yeah, I feel like I haven't listened to that one person's interview through and through with like total attention for some reason. His personality got kind of obnoxious for me. I found myself just like being, I don't know. I just didn't have it, but that might be the case.
He lived with them for many years, so he has very good insight.
No. The one that lived with him for many years is different. That is.
No, you're right. I'm sorry. I take that back. You're right. I messed that up.
Okay.
But I believe he also validated that the other guy was right about the younger girls.
I think that's very possible. I mean, absolutely. Yeah. I just wanted to know. I want to find that because I missed that. That makes sense if it was that one guy.
I'm going to find that for you. And then there's also an interview with the girl. They found the girl. Like she's come out on YouTube.
Oh, the girl.
I'll have to find that.
Yeah, send that to me if you can. I'd be very
I will.
interested to see that.
All right, you guys, I have to go. I have 21 more research method papers to do. So I'm going to go out and listen to you guys finish while I'm
I
grading
love
my
research
papers.
method.
Oh, it's great, except for students don't know how to write anymore. But then again, I also think about it as I have a doctorate degree, so maybe I'm just like looking at it differently. But I spend just as much time on their papers as they do. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
The society today, the children today, they can't even count back change. So you're probably right. Writing is different.
They are getting better over the semester, so they do have a learning curve. So that's good. So I feel like at least that's why I keep putting out the effort, because I feel like they are taking my advice in the next assignment. So I'm going to go and hop out. Thank you to everybody. Thank you for nobody attacking me.
Yeah,
Again,
no, we love you here, girl.
No, I know you. I just mean like even people in chat. I don't want anybody to ever think that I'm like coming in here to like be Jen's soldier, because that's not it at all.
No, but I mean, she deserves to have a voice, and there are communities where I am her defender. You know what I mean? Like, there's, you just gotta be real about what you see in these people.
The mind is a warped thing sometimes, and sometimes we have to look at the other side of things and what she may have struggled with. And so I definitely value your opinion, and I appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate you, honey bun.
Yeah.
And you too, Clara, and everybody else. All right, you guys, you all have a great night.
All right, sweetie.
All right, you too.
Thank you so much for having me.
Your students for where the American education system failed them in secondary and all that primary school, okay?
I will. All right, I'll see you guys soon.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye. So.
Well, that was cool.
That was cool. So give me a thought. I didn't hand you the mic as much, but
Oh no, I was enjoying listening to, because it is another perspective, and don't get me wrong, actually I leaned more towards what she was saying. Anyway, I'm sorry about the squeaking. My dog is squeaking a squeaker. Hey, can we let the lamb live? Can we let the lamb live? Thank you.
You have pickles, right?
So yeah, we can't let the lamb live, so Sarah has to go somewhere else. So that's his tasty treat. He loves the lamb.
Aww.
So I really do. I think of everything really mentally and the struggles that people have. And I usually take the side of what everyone else is not saying, because I tend to not go with the crowd. I tend to look deeper than that, than what others are saying, what the majority goes with, because life is hard and it is a struggle. And in our minds, like I said, it's crazy what goes in them and comes out of them. And I really just appreciate the insight that she gave, and that there is another side to things.
Yeah, and really, and I know that that we all know that there's a lot of different sides that we might not be considering, and there's all these little nuanced shifts in perspectives where nobody is getting it just right. What was I saying? I was saying this in the last live stream, but about something. When I was talking about, when I always say that I respect both victims' families in reference to the Watts case, and the person on panel, and I love her, but she really does not like Cindy Watts. I know a lot of people don't, and we're not going to get a discussion with it right now. I'm just making this point that to what Honey Bun just said. And I was like, listen, I don't want to talk about it. Also, YouTube's been on my butt about Watts case stuff too, and I just really didn't want to get into it. It was kind of a tangent we were taking because people were asking about how the insurance money settled. Anyway,
right.
Video about it. Surprise, surprise.
No, but I totally agree with your point, though.
Yeah, but I was saying, to her, we don't know what the experience was of Cindy Watts. Well, she didn't go to the wedding. I agree. That sucks, man. I can't imagine. Well, she didn't show up for Cece's birthday, but and I was like, you know what? We could go back and forth all these details, but guess what? We think we know, but we don't. We were not there. We were given a certain limited set of information, and based on that limited set of information or data, we have created this whole picture in our own minds that sometimes we will stand by as just it's fucking reality, but it's not. We don't know. And so
Yeah.
very much the same here, so I think it's really important, and I think it's kind of what all of us are saying, to be very careful to not hold on too tightly to an opinion of somebody that is disparaging, degrading, damaging, or just hateful, that might not be the case.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. That's exactly right though. And I don't choose to say that one person is good or one person is bad. I really want to understand exactly from maybe their perspective or their point of view. And to be honest, I don't even judge them then. I do judge a little. I mean, everybody does, but I don't really. I'm not anybody's judgment. I've done things in my life that I'm not proud of, but at the same time, I'd like to know what's going on, and on a deeper level, just for everybody to maybe see, and maybe help somebody else that may be struggling and be in that same way. Because I'll be honest with you, I was with a narcissist for 14 years. And I mean, a true blue narcissist. And I started picking up narcissistic traits.
Years. Yeah.
Yeah. And I started fighting fire with fire, because I thought that's what I had to do in the moment. And I've become highly narcissistic in some traits. And that's when I had to say, okay, I got to pump my brakes here, because this is not working. My life is just, I'm just like him, and I definitely do not want to be that. So I had to change some things. And maybe that's what it takes for everyone else, is to maybe see that someone like Jen, she lost her child because she wasn't a very attentive mother, and she wasn't doing all the things right. And maybe her mental health struggles prevented her from doing so. And hopefully somebody can catch something off of that. I don't know. I have to look at the positive stuff, because I don't like the negative. The negative sucks.
It does. And also, to also complement what you're saying, even in, yes, in this case, I am, I do have a judgment of Jen Soto, because based on, I don't know, just based on my general knowledge of certain things that are relevant. I don't know. And what we've seen so far in evidence, I feel as though she failed her daughter in ways that are significant. It's not petty, and it's not for the sake of judging Jen Soto, but I truly, truly believe that, Maddie is owed this. Maddie is owed this discussion of her life and her horror story, but also her beauty turning into something that is going to save the lives of other children, but also in the end is going to, show the world her true value that nobody saw, or it seems very few people saw, if anybody, when she was here on earth, particularly those people that, should have loved her and cared for her and seen her and acknowledged her and, fulfilled her needs the most. And so in that regard, I think, and we're talking about Nicole Kessinger. Sometimes I have to put myself in check. Okay, it's not about, how much disdain we have for Nicole Kessinger because of what she put these people through, but it is about, justice for Shanann and the kids and making sure all of that happens. And I think it's a very fine line.
Yes, I completely agree with that. Absolutely. And it's hard not to, because we're human, and when we're gonna judge the way that we feel. I try just on, I guess I just try to see it from all aspects. But yes, I do feel like Jen she didn't do right by Maddie, and Maddie deserved so much more. I believe that. And it's just hard. It's hard sometimes. I mean, I got tears now. I don't understand how everybody in that baby girl's life just turned the other cheek.
Yeah.
And it wasn't up to her friends. It wasn't up to her friends to be the people to say, hey, something's going on with Maddie.
That's right.
It wasn't children.
Other than to be cared for.
Yes.
They're children.
I mean, she deserved her own room.
My God, she did.
I mean, as far as
Especially
when
that
you're a
age,
young lady,
you're
you
developing.
know,
Yeah.
she was getting boobs, you know, she was, I'm just saying, like, these are privacy things. They're things that she should have been able to have.
Exactly.
It's just,
Exactly.
it murders my heart, man. I don't like it.
I know it's horrible. I know. I know. She should be able to figure out how she's going to get rid of her armpit hair without some disgusting, creepy 37-year-old pervert like peeking in and drooling.
Yes. Yes.
You know, things that can, you know, I mean, yeah, absolutely. You're so right about
I
that.
didn't have that great of a mom. I had a wonderful dad that taught me all the girl things,
That's
even though
awesome.
he had no clue. He had to look it up a lot of times, but
Aw.
I have the best dad that sat down and he taught me all these things, and I didn't have that with my mom, but I had the privacy. I was able to go to him for the things that I didn't get to go to her for, you
Yeah.
know,
That's
and so. And I think she would have had her dad had she been closer to him,
yeah.
as far as not stateswide, you know.
Well, in that way, even though it wasn't the way one would expect, like you had those needs met, even where your mother, I mean, not all of them were, of course. I mean, there was like,
Oh,
you know,
sure.
there was some certain harm with the dynamic with your mom, of course, but like those needs were met. It's like for Maddie,
They were
no one saw, recognized, or
nope.
her needs. And that is like such a goddamn shame. It's almost like a statistical improbability.
Absolutely.
You know, living in as nice of a neighborhood as they did. And I mean, their home was nice. And, you know, there weren't all these factors that, you know, statistically, you know, in a stereotypical level are going to, you know, prevent, you know, somebody like Maddie growing up. They're going to prevent them from having like any kind of like a normal, like safe, like secure experience to grow into a well-functioning adult. She didn't have all those things. Like
No.
this was like, you know, things were being stacked up against her, you know, like in almost it almost feels like intentionally. But that's where I always come up with negligent. I don't think it was intentional, but it was absolutely negligent.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just like I don't always think like that Jen was involved necessarily as
Right.
much as I feel like she was a non-existing parent, basically.
Yeah.
She was not doing any of the parenting things that you would want to do. She was selfish. I do agree with that. She was definitely selfish. And for that, she's lost her daughter. And maybe, I don't know, there's her punishment. If she even really cares that much, I just don't know.
But here's the thing with, you know, a parenting, like even if we're talking about legal standard, okay, if you're negligent and you're not talking about in your role as a parent, that might just be a tort situation. That might just be a civil case. That may not be a criminal situation at all.
Sure.
Okay? But when you're negligent, when you're a parent, that means that you are, you know, failing to fulfill your legal responsibility that you explicitly or implicitly have agreed to take on to a human being for whom you are legally responsible for, you know, taking care of, or in other words, not being negligent of at all times.
Right.
So when you're talking about a parent, negligence is criminal. And that's why no matter how I try to dice it up, I arrive back at the same place, which is I pray that Jen Soto faces criminal charges, because if for no other reason, the way she behaved in her daughter's life as a parent cannot be normalized. It cannot be accepted.
No, it's unacceptable, fully
It's,
unacceptable.
yeah. So
You know, I don't have any kids. So the fact that, okay, I babysit sometimes friends' kids or my aunt fosters kids. And so I babysit them sometimes. And I had one that I was putting in timeout and I told her, I said, look, this is me. I don't care to have you in timeout. It bothers me none. The only thing I'm supposed to do is feed you, make sure you're safe, and make sure nobody messes with you, and you have all that you need. Other than that, I don't care. You know, I mean, you can argue with me all you want, but I just don't care. And
Right.
but I even know and I'm not a parent, but I even know what the basic needs are for a child.
Yeah.
And it's like she was a parent for 13 years. She couldn't get that part right.
That's right. That's right. You know, and yeah, and you know, and then all of these excuses that come up from her for her, like, you know, and I understand that the, you know, mental illness is definitely a factor, but again, it does not encompass the failures that the failures of her or of her fulfilling her role as a parent to Maddie. I mean, she kept her
Yes.
unsafe and unstable and insecure and mostly unhappy in every way all the time.
And that security for that she did not give Maddie, you know, she was her worst, you know, she was the one that was against her all the time. Like, you're forgetful, you do this, you do that. She was just so nagging on her, never
Yeah.
did anything right. I mean, how can you feel good about yourself when you have that?
Right. And, you know, and she just, yeah, she had really no understanding. A lot of the things that she criticized for her, just like on a very kind of pedestrian level, not like the things that, like, you know, really led up, like, you know, as far as the timeline, like the end of her life and stuff. Like, developmentally, she wasn't supposed to do all those things that Jen was criticizing her for not doing. She's a child.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my God.
I know. My heart hurts so bad for her.
It does. It
If
does.
that's where she had to be at, and that was the life that she was gonna have to live, and nobody paying attention to her, I'm not saying that I'm happy that she's gone, but I know that she ain't hurting no more.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And you know, man, I just wish we all could have been here for you, Maddie, when you were actually on this earth, because we would have loved you so much.
Yes,
It's just
absolutely. Got her some resources or something.
absolutely. Oh my gosh. Come to move to New York State, honey. We got you taken care of.
That's right.
I'll hook you up with everything you need. I got connections.
Yeah.
For kids that need things.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for coming up. I really appreciate it. I know you saw how much I really wanted someone to come up a panel so I could like take a breath and stuff. And I love hearing what you have to say. And I love that you just knew that and you jumped up and did it. You're amazing. I appreciate you so much, honey bun.
Well, anytime, I'll jump off here and let you get this wrapped up.
Yes, thank you. And okay, we're gonna make it for a goal for this week because I am so not kidding. I have like everything all set up for like the merch stuff. I just literally need the logo to submit to smack on the stuff. So we got to get that together.
Okay, well, I'm down with that anytime.
Yeah, okay.
I've got all of my crafties out. Like,
oh, cool.
Yeah, and I'm going to have them with me all week long because I'm going to be at the Jeep store working my little tail off, and I'm going to have time.
Send me some pictures of some stuff.
Oh, girl, I got you.
Yeah. Do. Like a range of things, and then we'll figure it out from there.
That sounds great.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. You're awesome.
You're welcome. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Oh, we love Honey Bun and Dr. Vanna. Thank you guys, both of you, so much for coming up on panel. It's a great conversation, and I appreciate you both so much, as well as all the moderators, people in chat, members, subscribers, people who are just stopping by. We're so super happy you're here. Replay crew, you're okay too. I know you didn't get the notification, or maybe you were just doing things or sleeping. Not like Jen Soto sleeping, though. Her sleeping is irritating. Yeah. Astro. Oh, hey, the Astro from space. Yeah. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment after you watch. So, wow, that was like a lot of really. And hey, Dawn, how are you doing? We will love Maddie forever. Yes, we will. Oh my gosh. Poor Maddie. Oh. Maddie and Bella. I just want, and of course, Cece too. But for some reason, these two children, Maddie and Bella, just really have like just touched my heart in a special way. Thanks, Pepper, and thank you for all you do. Yeah, we all love Honey Bun and Dr. Vanna. Everybody loves you guys. All right, guys, I am gonna wrap it up because I have to work in the morning. Take care of my kids at school. So yeah, so I am gonna be doing another live stream. What is it, Tuesday? I don't know, definitely Thursday and or Friday. I wanted to do, I was going to do, I was going to try to do a live stream every night during this week, but it's just not happening because I'm still getting over this, like being a little sick and stuff. But definitely Thursday or Friday. So be looking for that. I'm also dropping a video very soon about the Delphi case and what exactly is the evidence that they have or have had against Richard Allen. I don't know what you guys think about that. I don't know. I dropped a video just like, I don't know, a week ago, and it's mostly about the Keegan. It's about the Keegan Clyde and Richard Allen connection because supposedly the defense said, well, through one of the motions that they filed, that Keegan Clyde will be called to testify by the defense. And I was like, damn, how's that happening? But I think I can. I don't know, guys. I don't know if Richard Allen is guilty. I have always wondered about it. And I'm not, this is not one of the channels where I think everybody who gets arrested is the guy who didn't do it. We know who you are. We know those channels. This is not one. But, man, I don't know. Maybe there's some bombshells yet to drop. But so far in my mind, the connection is not being made. And I don't know. So we're going to have to talk about that too. So I want to know what you think about that too. You agree? Are you talking to me, Dr. Vanna? Yeah, looks like DA work in the Delphi case. Yeah. I mean, at the moment, it's like I am always going to go with the evidence, always with the evidence and justice and making sure that our victims that we give them all that we can at this point by seeing it through for them because they're gone. So I'm always, there's never an agenda here. It's always where the evidence goes for the victims, right? But where that's going in this case, God, could you imagine? I was thinking about this hardcore earlier. Could you imagine if Richard Allen is acquitted, if he is not convicted, and perhaps somehow it is determined or proven at some point, whether it's during this trial or after, that he unequivocally did not do it and had nothing to do it? The way that man, if he is not guilty of this crime, then what has happened to that man since the day he was arrested or before is he has been tortured, like literally tortured, like the definition of the word. And that is not okay. But maybe he is guilty. And I just, in my mind hasn't, taken in that evidence yet that I don't know, guys. I have some real big concerns, and I know some of you probably do too. Yeah. Oh, cool. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Ma, for taking the time. I know you're busy with your students. So, yeah. Okay. So look for all that coming up on What's the Obsession? True Crime. Right. I know he's in prison, not jail. Right. He's literally being tortured. He's being tortured. And I mean, I don't know. They say, and I feel, sometimes I feel that a person's eyes can be, a window into their soul, so to speak, not to be, kind of cliche like that, but something has innately changed about that man. And perhaps it's the experience of the horror of murdering two innocent, precious little girls. And then, being caught and having to face that for yourself and knowing you have to face the consequences. But it might also be something different that he's gone through, that he's been put through. And I hope that we definitively find out the answers, because if we don't, that's going to be a lose for justice too. So, hey, Carol J, welcome. How are you doing? All right, guys, so I'm going to end it there, and I will see you later this week, okay? Everybody, remember, life is hard. So So be nice to each other and everyone else around you. Oh, and your bunnies too. Sorry we didn't have a bunny break. I don't want for my. I don't even have my my good camera hooked up right now. But especially guys, be good to yourself, please, because you deserve it. And I know you're not good enough to yourself because you're awesome and you do deserve it. So remember that. And I will see you later this week. Justice for Maddie. Go to hell, Stefan Stearns. I don't even care. Stefan. Go to hell.